Mr. Garner, are you ready to continue on with the state's case in chief?
Yes, Your Honor.
State's next witness.
State's next witness is Arielle Konig. Please raise your right hand.
You do solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Please have a seat. Mr. Garner, whenever you're ready.
Okay. Good morning.
Morning.
Okay, before we get any further, first thing I'm asking you to do is, if I can ask you to sit as close as you can as to the microphone.
Okay.
And then speak into the microphone as much as you can today, okay?
Okay.
All right. Can you please state your name?
My name is Arielle Konig.
And Arielle, what do you do for work?
I am a project manager for TerraPower.
What does TerraPower do?
TerraPower is a nuclear innovation company.
Okay. When you say nuclear innovation, what do you mean?
We're designing an advanced reactor to deploy to replace retiring coal plants.
And what do you actually do at TerraPower?
I work on the fuel supply.
And Arielle, where do you live?
I live on Maui,
Where on Maui?
in Kahului.
Is that at 19 Pu'u'ehu Place?
That's correct.
Who do you live with?
I live with my children.
Which children?
I have two little kids and then my stepson.
How long have you been living on Maui?
Just over 3 years now.
Arielle, are you currently married?
Yes, I am.
Who are you currently married to?
Gerhardt Konig.
As of March 24th, 2025, how long had you been married to Gerhardt Konig?
About 6.5 years.
Okay, as of that date, 1 year ago today, how long had you been in a relationship with him?
Would have been about 9 years then.
When did you first meet Gerhardt Konig?
We met in the spring of 2016.
And you mentioned you have some children. Do you have any children with Gerhardt?
Yes, I have 2 children with Gerhardt.
How old are those children?
They are 5 and 3.
If you were to see Gerhardt again, would you recognize him?
Yes.
Could you
Stipulate to identification, Your Honor.
Okay. Stipulation accepted. The court will reflect that there is identification by Mrs. Koenig.
Okay. I'll skip ahead a little bit. Arielle, I'm going to ask you about an incident from March 24th, 2025, around 10 o'clock a.m. Do you remember that incident?
Yes, I do.
Where were you going that morning?
Gerhardt and I were going to a hike on the Polypuka Trail.
And so, where is that hike again?
The Polypuka Trail?
Is that on the island of Oahu?
Yes, it is.
Why were you and the defendant on the island of Oahu on March 24th, 2025?
We came to Oahu to celebrate my birthday.
And when is your birthday?
My birthday is March 24th.
Okay. When did you actually arrive on Oahu?
We got here March 23rd, the day before.
And when were you scheduled to leave?
On the 25th.
And you said March 24th was your birthday. I'm going to approach now what's been marked as State's Exhibit 133, previously shown to defense counsel. 133.
State 123.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Okay, Arielle, I've just handed you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 133. Do you recognize what I've just handed you?
Yes, I do.
Okay. What is this?
This is a birthday card that Gerhardt gave me last year.
And when did the defendant give you that birthday card?
It was in the morning. We were at our hotel getting ready to leave for breakfast and then for the hike, and gave me a present and this card.
Does this photograph fairly and accurately depict the birthday card the defendant gave you on March 24th, 2025?
Yes, it does.
Okay, at this point, the state will move State's Exhibit 133 into evidence.
Mr. Otake. No objection. What has been marked for identification as State's Exhibit 133 is received into evidence.
I'm going to publish now what's been marked as State's Exhibit 133. Arielle, how did you feel when you got this card?
Hopeful. I was just I teared up when I read it. I thought it was really sweet. And we were coming off of a hard season, so, I felt hopeful that this was a turning point for us in our marriage and that this was going to be a nice trip and kind of started the next chapter for us.
Okay. I'll come back to what you just mentioned there a little bit later.
Sure.
But could you walk us, and I'm going to take down State's Exhibit 133, and I'm going to retrieve it from you now.
Could we have it read to the jury and at least publish it in a way where they can see it?
They'll get it when they deliberate.
Well,
It's up to the state to publish the exhibit as they wish.
Okay. I'm going to retrieve the exhibit from you, Arielle. I'm going to hand it to the clerk. Okay. All right, Arielle, you got the birthday card in the morning, you said, and then you were late around 10 a.m. on this hike. Can you describe how you got to the Palipuka hike?
We had a rental car, so we drove.
Who drove?
Gerhardt drove.
And who planned the hike?
Gerhardt planned the hike.
Had you ever been on the Palipuka hike before?
I had not, no.
Had you ever been to Oahu before?
No, this is my first trip to Oahu. I had flown through, but not visited the city.
Okay, so you'd stopped at the airport before,
Yes.
but never left?
Yes.
Right. Can you describe the area around the trailhead of this hike, or the start of the hike?
Sure. There's a parking lot when you first get there, and then the trailhead itself is kind of hidden. There's a sign that says the trail is closed here, and it's up. There's a lava rock wall, and it's above that wall, and then there's some porta potties off to the side.
When you got to the trailhead, were there any other hikers around?
Yes, when we first got there were two hikers walking around, looking on their phones, kind of looking like they were looking for the trailhead. When there's a sign that says the trail is closed, so it looked like they were trying to figure out where the trail actually was.
And what did you and the defendant do when you saw those two would-be hikers?
We saw them, and I was like, oh, they're looking for the trail too. We should tell them it's up here, because we had seen hikes like that before where you kind of go past the sign. And he said, no, it'll be nicer if it's just us. Let's just go to the lookout and give them time to find the hike. And so we went and parked and went over to the actual, more visitor area at the Palipuka Trail.
Okay. When you said the visitor area or the lookout, what area is that?
There's a big flat area, and there's plaques and things, and then there's a big view, so you can go and take pictures and read about the site.
And how long did you and the defendant stay in that area?
I'd say less than 10 minutes. Just
Okay.
took some pictures and looked around.
And what were you looking out over at that area? Or what were you looking at?
It's this big valley.
Okay. And then after you were done at the Pali lookout area, looking at there with the plaques and all that, where did you and the defendant go next?
Then we went and started the trail.
Did you hike the whole trail that morning?
No.
Can you describe what the start of the trail was like?
Sure. And we just kind of quickly went behind the porta potties to get up there. And the start of the trail is pretty wooded and rocky.
You mentioned you didn't hike the whole trail. At a certain point, did you decide to turn around?
Yes, we were hiking, and there's kind of these like cliff faces that you walk past, and it's pretty narrow. And I was just feeling uneasy, and I wasn't enjoying myself. And we got to a part where you had to kind of scramble, use your arms and legs to get up, and it was kind of exposed. There weren't really a lot of trees, and I was just uneasy. And so I told Gerhardt, "I'm not having fun. I don't want to keep going. I'm going to stop here."
Arielle, can you explain to us what was making you uneasy?
The cliffs were just feeling, it was windy, and the trail was narrow, and the cliffs were really steep.
Do you know how tall the cliffs were?
I don't, hundreds of feet, I would say.
Okay. So you're feeling uneasy, and you just said you told the defendant you didn't want to continue. What happened after you told the defendant that?
Well, I had hiked up part of that little scramble area, and I came back down because I was feeling it was like very exposed up there. And so I came back down, and I was like, I told him he could keep going if he wanted to, and I would wait there. And so he went on for a little while I just kind of hung out. And it was maybe, again, 5 or 10 minutes, and then he came back.
Okay. So once the defendant got back, did he say anything?
Yeah, he came back, and he was like, "It's really beautiful. You should really come on it. It's too dangerous for me to be walking around by myself, but you've already done the hardest part by coming up this part. You should really come up and we could keep going." And I was just like, "No, I'm not enjoying it. I don't feel good. I'm not doing it."
All right. So after you told the defendant no again, what did he do?
Then we started making our way back down the trail.
And can you describe for us what you and the defendant were doing as you started to head back down the trail?
Sure, we were just walking and talking, and I was like, "Oh, I'm not as much fun as I used to be since having kids, I guess. But yeah, I'm just not enjoying this today." We were walking down, and there's this big tree, and I was like, "Oh, I'll climb the tree. You can take my picture up there." And so we did that.
Okay. Who took the picture of who in the tree?
Yeah, I climbed the tree. I gave Gerhardt my phone and my purse to hold, and I climbed the tree, and he took the picture on my phone.
So after you take the picture in this tree, where did you go?
And I just climbed back down, back to Gerhardt in the trail.
Okay. Once you climbed down from the tree, who had your phone and your purse?
Gerhardt still had my phone and purse.
Okay. What was in your purse?
Well, my phone had with it my ID and credit card, and then the purse had, sunglasses and chapstick, something like that.
Okay. Now you mentioned one picture of you in a tree. Did you take any other pictures when you're coming down the trail?
We did. At that point, Gerhardt said, "Let's take a selfie." There's like a cliff's edge there, and he's like, "Let's take a selfie with this view in the background." And so we went and took a picture there as well.
Did you take any pictures of the defendant?
On the hike up, we were both taking pictures. We were taking Snapchats and pictures. We have a family Snapchat group, and we were sending pictures in there.
I see. Okay. All right. And you said Snapchat. What is Snapchat?
Snapchat is an app. It's photo-based that you send. I don't know how to describe it better than that. It's ephemeral.
And you said there was ephemeral?
It doesn't last very long. It's not like permanent storage. So you would send maybe less. You would send more pictures than you might otherwise.
Okay. And let's see. Did you have access to any of your photos from Snapchat after this?
Some, not all.
I'm going to approach with State's Exhibit 131, which has previously been shown to defense counsel and shown again. Yeah. May I approach?
Yes.
Arielle, I've handed you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 131. Do you recognize what I've handed you?
Yes.
What is this?
This is a picture of Gerhardt standing by the cliff's edge that I took on Snapchat and sent in that family Snapchat message.
Okay. Could you clarify this for us? Is this going up the trail or coming down?
This was taken on the way up when we were hiking up before we had turned around.
Okay. Does this photo fairly inaccurately depict the defendant as you photographed him on March 24, 2025?
Yes, it does.
At this point, the state moves Exhibit States 131 into evidence.
That's what we're talking.
No objection.
What has been marked for identification as States Exhibit 131 is received into evidence.
And I'm going to publish now States Exhibit 131. Okay. Arielle, what, if you can look at the photo and describe maybe what's on the screen as well, what is the text on the photo?
It says, "Don't look down."
Okay. And who was, is your identification on the photo anywhere?
Yes, up in the upper left-hand corner. It says Arielle Konig.
Okay. And what is Arielle Konig?
That's my name, Ari, short for Arielle.
Is that your Snapchat ID as well?
I'm sure it is.
All right. I'm going to take down States Exhibit 131. And I'm going to retrieve the exhibit from you. Arielle, why did you say don't look down there?
It's a very steep cliff behind him.
Okay, I want to fast forward in time a little bit to the photos you mentioned later.
Sure.
So did you take any other photos on the way down?
Yes, right at that cliff. When I had come out of the tree and when we had walked to that cliff area, Gerhardt said, "Let's take a selfie with this as the backdrop." So we would be standing with our backs to the cliff, taking a photo.
Before you took that selfie, or before the defendant asked to take that selfie, did you notice anything about the defendant's attention?
Yes, he was very aware of where I was, where my feet were, where he was, and where the trail was. I felt like he was often looking at my feet and just very spatially aware of where I was on the trail.
Did you ever take that selfie?
We did. It wasn't quite as close to the edge as he wanted. I was standing from that photo. You can see there's a pine tree, and I was holding onto a branch of that because I was just uneasy that close to the edge. And we did take a selfie, but I held onto that tree.
Okay. Do you still have access to that selfie?
I don't.
What happened after you took the selfie while you were holding onto the tree?
I just asked him to move down the trail a little bit so that I could get past without having to go near the cliff.
And then how did the defendant react to that?
He was a little like, okay, and then he moved a few paces away.
Okay. So after the defendant moved down the trail a few paces away, what did you do?
Then I walked to him, so he was then facing me and the cliff, and I walked up to him. And again, everything was normal. I walked up and just kind of like brushed my hands against his shoulders, like kind of like a little hug.
Okay. As you had your hands against his shoulders, where was the defendant facing?
He was facing the cliff, facing me. My back was to the cliff, and he's facing me at the cliff.
And how far behind you was the cliff?
Feet, 10 or less.
Excuse me, I couldn't hear that.
10 or less feet.
All right. So, okay. After this happens, after you get to where the defendant is on the trail, what happened next?
When I walk up to him, then he grabbed me really forcefully by my upper arms, and he said, "I'm so fucking sick of this shit. Get back over there." And he starts pushing me back towards the cliff.
While the defendant was grabbing you and pushing you, what did you do?
I was surprised. It felt almost like he was kidding at first, and I was like, "What are you doing?" But he had grabbed me really hard and was moving me. So we kind of wrestled a little bit, and I threw myself onto the ground because there's a lot of trees and shrubs there so that I could hold on.
As you threw yourself to the ground, how did the defendant respond?
Well, he got on top of me, and he was kind of trying to pull me, and we're wrestling, and he ended up straddling me, so he had his legs on either side, kind of across my waist.
On March 24, 2025, how tall were you?
About 5'6".
And how much did you weigh on that day?
About 145 pounds.
Okay. And on that date, how tall was the defendant?
About 5'10".
And how much did he weigh?
maybe 165 pounds.
Okay, and then you said straddling. Can you describe what that looked like for us?
Sure. I am laying on my back, and he's on top of me with kind of like one leg on either side across my waist, facing me.
Once the defendant was on top of you, what did he do next?
So he was first trying to pull me, trying to get me closer to the cliff. And again, I could kind of hold on to the roots and stuff that were around us. And then he had a backpack that he was hiking with. And he, like I said, he's on top of me. And he had a syringe in his hand. And he says, hold still. And I see the syringe, and I just kind of like bat it away from us both.
Okay. When you first saw that syringe in his hand, all right, and you said you were able to bat it. Do you know where it went?
It just fell on the ground sort of near us. It would have been to my left because I could still kind of see it in my periphery. So I was trying to make sure it wasn't going to get grabbed again.
And then could you describe what you remember about the syringe, what it looked like?
Sure. It was a clear syringe with a blue piece, maybe blue plunger, I guess is what that's called.
Once you were able to bat the syringe away onto the ground, what did the defendant do next?
So he had taken his backpack off, and it was on the ground to his left, so kind of to the right side of my body here. And he was digging in that with his left hand, and then kind of holding me down with his right hand. And I'm screaming, and I'm saying, "What the fuck are you doing? Get off me." And he's saying, like, "Fuck you, you're done. I'm so sick of your shit, I'm so done with you." And I'm trying to kind of protect myself and get out of there. But also he's gripping his hand closed really hard. And there's a vial in his hand, so I was trying to pry his hand open so I could grab that vial out.
Okay. Which hand did you see the vial in?
The vial was in his right hand.
Okay. And did you actually get to see the entire vial?
No.
Okay. What part of it did you see?
I could see pieces of it because I'm trying to like pry his fingers off of it so that I can grab it and throw it.
Were you able to open his hand that was holding the vial?
Not enough to get the vial away.
All right. You mentioned the defendant was saying some things. Can you tell us what you remember he said as he was on top of you?
Yeah. I'm screaming, and he's telling me, "Shut the fuck up. Nobody's going to hear you out here. Nobody's coming to save you." And I'm saying, like, "You can't do this. Everyone knows we're on a hike. They'll know this wasn't an accident. Our kids will be orphans. You'll go to jail, and I'll be dead. Like, you have to stop." And again, he's saying, like, "You're done. We're done with you. We don't need you anymore. You're done. You're done."
Did telling the defendant any of these things that you told him, did that get him to stop?
No, not really. And I had said, like, "Your mom just sent me a really beautiful text for my birthday. Like, your family will be upset if I die. He can't face our kids after this, you know." And he did seem at that point to, like, calm down a little bit. Like, it seemed like he took a deep breath and calmed down. And so I had this moment where I was like, okay, this is the break. Like, I can get out. And then he just starts hitting me with a rock.
Okay. I'm going to backtrack for just a moment, Arielle. As the defendant was on top of you, as the defendant was saying things, and as you were saying things back, were you trying to defend yourself physically at all?
Yes, and I'm screaming and trying to defend myself physically. So I think I bit his forearm at one point, trying to, that would have been his right forearm. And then I was also squeezing his testicles with so I had my right hand trying to squeeze his testicles to get him to get off of me.
Okay. And was that, when you were doing those things, was that before or after he calmed down, as you just said?
That was before he calmed down.
Okay. So what happened, you said, after the defendant calmed down?
Oh, well, it felt like he calmed down because it looked like he took a deep breath. And again, I was screaming, and so he's covering my mouth and stuff, and then we had this moment of like, he seems like he takes a deep breath, and then he just starts hitting my face and my head with a rock.
Did you see where the defendant got the rock from?
I didn't see where he got it from, but like spatially, he was like reaching up around this area of my head. So my impression was that there was a rock on the ground near my head that he was able to grab.
Were you just holding your hand around the left side of your head?
Yes, sorry.
When the defendant was hitting you with the rock, did you say anything?
I just started screaming because in my mind, he was trying to knock me unconscious to get to be able to drag me over the edge. So I just was screaming then as much as I could.
Did the defendant respond to what you were screaming?
No.
Did anybody other than the defendant respond to what you were screaming?
Yes. So I'm screaming, and I do think I was saying something like, please help. He's trying to kill me. You know, I'm hoping somebody can kind of hear that. And I, at some point, hear a woman's voice say, we're here, we're calling 911. We're here, we're calling 911.
Okay. So after you hear that woman's voice, what happens?
He just kind of like, Gerhardt just kind of froze and knelt back away from me. And I just crawled away really slowly. And again, he seemed just like frozen. And then I was yelling to the voices I heard, are you still there? Are you still there? Don't leave me. And I couldn't hear anybody calling anything back. So I just kept crab walking away. Like I'm on my butt, kind of like scooting. And I just kept going and got to like a lower part of the trail. And the women were down there, and one of them was on the phone with emergency personnel.
As you crab walked away, did the defendant follow you?
No.
So as you crab walked away, did you see what the defendant did?
He just, like I said, he seemed frozen. He just kind of stood up and was staring. And then I didn't see where he went after that. He didn't follow me when I went down to those women.
What happened when you got to the two women?
When I got to them, we were just trying to figure out how to get out of there as quickly as we could. And so they tried to stand me up to see if we could walk down with me kind of draped over them to get through, but I couldn't stand. Excuse me. That was just like an unstable. So one of them went behind me and was kind of sweeping to make sure he wasn't coming after us, visually scanning to make sure he wasn't coming after us. And then the other one was in front, leading us. And one of the women had like a large metal water bottle, and she had that in her hand, and she was like, this is the only weapon I have. But and then I crab walked or, kind of scooted down the whole trail with them on kind of either part to try to keep us safe.
After this happened, where was your phone?
My phone and my bag were still with Gerhardt.
Still with the defendant?
Yes.
So does that include your purse that you mentioned?
Yes.
Okay. Arielle, I'm going to take a step back.
Okay.
There's something you mentioned earlier about a hard season. Were you having any marital problems before this happened on March 24th, 2025?
Yes, we were.
What happened to start those problems?
Sure. In December, the year prior, Gerhardt had gone through he logged into my WhatsApp account and saw that I was deleting text messages between a coworker and I, and he got upset about that.
When in December did this happen?
This was the beginning of December.
And when you say logged into your WhatsApp account, how does that work? First of all, what is a WhatsApp account?
WhatsApp is a text messaging app.
Okay. And you described the defendant logging in. Do you know how that works?
Actually, not. I don't know how that worked.
Did the defendant ever confront you about this?
Yes, he did. My impression is that he knew about it for a few days and then confronted me about it a little bit later.
Okay. And how did that confrontation happen?
Well, we were on vacation, and he came into our hotel room and asked for my cell phone, and then came back in a little bit later and told me, like, I see what's on WhatsApp. And he was really angry, very upset.
Okay, you say angry, upset. Can you describe what he said to you?
Yeah, called me a lying bitch, you're a whore. How could you do this sort of thing?
Who were you messaging with on WhatsApp that caused this confrontation?
It was a coworker from Terra Power. His name is Jeff Miller.
Okay, and you said Jeff Miller also works at Terra Power.
That's right.
Is Terra Power on Maui?
No.
Okay, where is Terra Power located?
It's headquartered in Bellevue, Washington, outside of Seattle.
Do you work in person or do you work remote?
I work remotely.
So who is Jeffrey Miller to you?
He's a coworker and a friend.
Did you ever have sex with Jeffrey Miller?
No.
In these WhatsApp messages, did you ever send or receive sexual photos with Jeffrey Miller?
No.
Did you discuss sex at all in the messages?
No.
In these messages, did you flirt with Jeffrey Miller?
Yes, some of them are flirty in nature.
And when the defendant confronted you in December about these messages, how did you react?
I was apologetic. He was obviously hurt, and I was really committed to my marriage and my husband, and so we agreed to work through it and try to, kind of rebuild, because I had definitely broken his trust and could tell he was hurt.
As a couple, how did you and the defendant characterize these WhatsApp messages?
It felt like an affair to him, so we called it an emotional affair.
Did you say emotional affair?
Emotional affair is the word, yeah.
After the defendant confronted you and called you a lying bitch and a whore, did the defendant make any demands about your job?
A little bit. I wasn't supposed to be like in any kind of one-on-one work situation with Jeff. No emails or anything like that.
All right. Can you describe a little bit about what that was like, or what the defendant asked you to do?
Well, it was really just anytime there was going to be a meeting, there had to be another person there as well. And then Gerhardt would kind of go through my stuff at the end of the day to see, what I was doing. So if I was sending emails or who I was meeting with.
After this happened in December, did anything change with your sex life with the defendant?
At the time, Gerhardt kind of expected to have sex every other day, and when this happened, he made it clear that if I refused to have...
An objection. Can we approach? Come on.
Gentlemen, Ms. Konig's last answer stricken from the record.
Arielle, I'm going to rephrase the question. How often did the defendant demand to have sex in December after this emotional affair came out?
Every other day.
When did you actually last have sex with the defendant?
December 24th that year.
December 24th of 2024.
That's right.
So between December 24th, 2024 and March 24th, 2025, did you have sex with the defendant?
No.
In those months, December through March, did you and the defendant work on your relationship?
We did a lot of work on our relationship. Yeah, we both were doing individual and couples therapy.
And can you describe a little bit about, what that was like?
Yeah, I mean, we were trying to work on a lot of different things in our marriage, in addition to the deleted text messages, which again, I could tell Gerhardt was deeply hurt by. So working on rebuilding trust.
In terms of non-sexual intimacy, did anything change in that with regards to your relationship with the defendant after this all came out in December?
A little bit, yes. And in that, Gerhardt really wanted a lot of touch, physical touch. So there was a lot of like cuddling and stuff like that. And any refusal of that would be, kind of me withdrawing.
Okay. When you didn't want to cuddle, what types of things would the defendant talk to you about?
Then that would be like, a lot of questions. How could you do this to us? We would kind of bring up the WhatsApp messages back to the surface.
And then when were these, or how long was this issue ongoing, I guess?
I mean, like December was really hard. January, it seemed like things were getting a little bit easier. Things were getting a little bit better. By February, we had gone on a family vacation with our little kids and had a really fun time. And so it seemed like by February, we were starting to kind of turn a little bit of a corner.
And were you and the defendant still talking in January?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to approach now with States Exhibit 130 and 117 for your decision of the defense. May I approach, Your Honor? You may.
Thank you.
Arielle, I've handed you two exhibits now, 130 and 117. Without showing them to the jury, could you look at what they are, and when you're done, look up? Okay, let's start with the one with the sticker on the back that says 130. What is that?
This is a text message exchange between Gerhardt and I.
Okay, and what month did that exchange take place?
This would have been in January.
Right. Who does this exhibit fairly and accurately depict the text message exchange between yourself and the defendant in January 2025?
To the best of my knowledge, yes.
Okay, at this point, the state moves exhibit 130 into evidence.
Mr. Otake,
No objection.
what has been marked for identification of States Exhibit 130 was received into evidence?
Okay. I'm going to now publish and put up on the screen what's been marked as States 130. Okay. And then can you describe the context of this message?
Yes, so Gerhardt would have been at work, just kind of texting me an update. So he's in the blue, but I was at home.
And what was Gerhardt's work?
Gerhardt was an anesthesiologist at Maui,
Okay. Do you know where he primarily did his work?
at the hospital.
Okay. We're going to take States Exhibit 130 down. Could you now take a look at the one marked States Exhibit 117? Okay, what is that?
This is an email that Gerhardt sent me, also in January.
Okay. And what is the email about?
It's about life insurance.
And is this a true and accurate copy of the email the defendant sent you? And I'm sorry, what date was the email sent?
The date is January 21st, 2025.
Is this a true and accurate copy of the email the defendant sent you on January 21st, 2025?
To my knowledge, yes.
At this point, the state moves Exhibit 117 into evidence.
Mr. Otake,
No objection.
what has been marked for identification as States Exhibit 117 is received into evidence?
I'm going to publish States Exhibit 117. Arielle, what was the defendant asking you to do in this email?
He wanted me to reach out to an insurance representative from AAA to apply for a life insurance policy.
At the time that you saw this email, did you think anything of it?
No.
We're going to take Exhibit 117 down from the screen right now. And I'm going to retrieve both exhibits from you, Arielle. Hand it into the clerk. Okay, so you said you didn't think anything of the defendant asking you to increase your life insurance at the time. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. In your relationship with the defendant, who handled matters such as insurance?
Gerhardt did most of the financial stuff.
The financial stuff, is that even more than insurance?
Yeah, I mean, did taxes and, tracking everything.
Okay. Can you describe what financial things the defendant actually took care of?
Sure. He made sure did all of the utility payments and bill payments. And then in this case, looked at our life insurance and how much we would need if either of us were to pass away to keep our kids in our house.
Who set the budget?
We didn't really have an established budget.
I'm going to move forward in time just a little bit, Arielle, to February 2025.
Okay.
How did your relationship with the defendant progress into February?
Yeah, like I said, January, was better than December. February is better than January in terms of, stability and kind of seeming like things, being hopeful for the future. In February, we did a family vacation with our little boys and saw Gerhardt's family. And we had a really fun time. So it felt like I said, just felt hopeful for the future.
Were these WhatsApp messages an issue in your relationship at all in February?
I not that I recall, and if so, it was a small thing. Yeah.
And how did your relationship progress into March 2025?
Same again. I would have said in early March. March was better than February. It seemed like we were both really trying. We certainly had things to work through, but it seemed like we were both putting in a lot of effort. And we had committed to kind of giving our kids 2 years of us like really working on things, and it felt like we were both really leaning into that.
And this birthday trip in March, at the end of March, who planned that trip again?
Gerhardt planned the trip.
And how did the trip go before you took the hike on March 24th?
The trip was going well. We came out the day before in the morning, and we went to a spa, and we did like a long couple spa thing, a couple hours long. Did a nice lunch. We walked around and shopped and had a nice dinner. It felt, normal. We were having fun together, relaxing.
You mentioned the spa thing. Is that something that you and the defendant talked about before you did it?
Yes.
Okay. How far in advance did you know you guys were going to the spa?
Weeks or less, 1 to 2 weeks, I would estimate.
Did you and the defendant talk about the Puka hike specifically before you did it?
No, not really. Maybe the night before.
Did you research it together?
I did not know.
So did you look at any web pages about the hike before you went on it?
No, I did not.
Arielle, I'm going to jump forward in time now to after March 24th,
Okay.
or after the incident on March 24th. After this happened, did you receive any medical treatment?
I did, yep. I was taken by ambulance to the hospital where I was treated for severe complex scalp lacerations, and they did some imaging and stuff.
How long did you stay at the hospital?
I was in the hospital for one night.
So you got out of the hospital then March 25th?
In the evening of the 25th, yes.
And where did you go once you got out of the hospital?
To my house in Maui.
Can you say that one more time?
To my house in Maui, sorry.
And is that the 19 Pu'u'ehu Place address that you mentioned?
That's correct, yes.
When you got back to Maui, did you find anything relevant in your house to what happened?
Yes. A few days later, I found Gerhardt's work bag in our closet.
Okay. And what did you find that was relevant about the work bag?
I just unzipped it and I could see syringes and medication were in there.
How did you react to finding the bag of medical supplies?
I mean, I was surprised. I called an attorney and then got in touch with the police to have them come get it, just in case it was relevant.
Did the police eventually come and collect the bag?
They did, yes. 2 evidence specialists came to take it.
And between the time that you saw the medical supplies in the defendant's work bag to the time that the police came to collect them from your house, did you tamper with, alter, substitute, or destroy any of the items in that bag?
No.
And could you describe the bag for us, just the physical bag?
Sure, it's a black backpack, but it has like a 1 shoulder strap. It's not a full backpack.
Other than the bag, did the police recover anything else from your house on Maui?
They did. They also took his laptop computer.
Where was the defendant's laptop before the police recovered it?
It was on his desk at our house.
Do you know the login information for that laptop?
I do not know.
Do you have like a computer account on that laptop?
No.
From the time that you got back to your house on Maui to the time that the police recovered that laptop, did you do anything at all with the laptop?
No.
Now, you talked about your treatment on Oahu so far. Did you have any sort of medical treatment after you got back to Maui?
I did. I had a lot of wound care for. I had a bunch of stitches through my scalp. I had a lot of wound care for that, and then I had some treatment for a distal fracture of my thumb.
Were you able to work after this happened?
No, I was out of work full time for maybe 4 weeks, something like that, and then I was on light duty for a few weeks after that, and then ongoing physical therapy for vertigo and for just kind of fatigue and being able to sit at the computer and do, because I work on my computer screen all day. So did physical therapy to kind of strengthen the ability to do that.
How long before you were fully recovered, just in terms of able to work a normal work day?
Maybe between 2 and 3 months.
Do you have any visible long-term effects from the injuries from March 24, 2025?
Yes, I have scarring on my scalp and my face.
And Arielle, could you show everybody in the courtroom the scar on your scalp?
Sure.
And I want the record to reflect the witness is just pulled her bangs up on the left side of her head to display a scar.
Yes.
Arielle, how do you normally cover that scar?
Until
Objection irrelevant.
Sustain.
Does your hair grow in the area where that scar
Same
is?
objection, Your Honor.
Overruled.
no, my hair does not grow there.
Arielle, on March 24, 2025, did you give the defendant permission to try and push you off the cliff?
No, I did not.
Did you give the defendant permission to try and inject you with a syringe?
No, I did not.
Did you give the defendant permission to hit you with that rock?
No, I did not.
Thank you. I have no further questions at this time.
And Arielle Konig is back on the stand. Ms. Konig, you're still under oath.
Yes.
Mr. Otake, you may begin your cross-examination.
Yes. Good morning, Ms. Konig.
Good morning.
My name is Tommy Otake. I'm Gerhardt's attorney. I have some questions for you this morning, ma'am. If I ask a question that you don't understand, please let me know and I'll try my best to clarify it, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, I want to begin a little bit with this issue of Mr. Jeffrey Miller. Mr. Miller was a co-worker of yours, yes?
That's right.
And was he a senior vice president at the company that you worked for?
Not at the time, no.
At the time, what was his position? And when at the time, I mean in November, December of 2024. What was his position at TerraPower at the time?
A director, senior director, something like that.
Senior director. Okay. Now, you understood Mr. Miller was also married, yes?
Yes,
You were married at the time, yes?
that's right.
You indicated under oath today that after the discovery of these communications with you and Mr. Miller, you and Gerhardt would refer what had happened between the two of you. You would refer to it as an emotional affair, correct?
That's right.
All right. In fact, there were times in communications where he referred to it as a secret affair, yes?
When you say he, you mean Gerhardt?
Yes.
I don't recall, but potentially.
And we'll come back to that. And in fact, in the counseling sessions that you guys had, it was whatever was going on with Mr. Miller was referred to as emotional infidelity at times, yes?
As far as I can recall, yes.
Okay. Now, emotional affair, secret affair, emotional infidelity. When you were interviewed by the detective in this case following this incident we're all talking about, you were asked by the detective about your relationship with Mr. Miller, yes?
Yes, sir.
And you understood that he was investigating this case and he expected you to be honest and truthful, correct?
That's right.
And he asked you whether or not you had an affair with Mr. Miller, and your response to the detective was no, that you didn't have an affair, correct?
Based on,
My question, ma'am, is was your answer to his question, when he asked you a very specific question, did you have an affair, your answer with Mr. Miller, your answer was no, correct?
that's correct.
You described it to the detective simply as some flirty text messages with a coworker, correct?
That's what it was, sir.
That's what it was according to you, right?
That's right.
Now, after the discovery of these messages and what was going on with you and Mr. Miller, there were times when you and Gerhardt would communicate about the situation by text messages between the two of you, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And isn't it true that on December 9th, 2024, Gerhardt sent you a text that said, you engaged and continued an elaborate secret affair instead of coming to me asking to work on our relationship. You remember him sending you that text?
I'm sorry? Objection, hearsay, assistant.
It's impeachment, Your Honor. She said there was no affair. I can.
Approach.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Please.
Isn't it true that in a text message on December 9th, when Gerhardt texted you and accused you of engaging in a secret affair, your response to that text was, if anything, I learned how stupid it was this time and know how to make sure it doesn't happen again. That was what you responded. That was your response to him confronting you and saying you engaged in a secret affair. You said, I learned how stupid it was and I know how to make sure it doesn't happen again, correct?
It felt like an affair to Gerhardt, and that's how we were treating it in our marriage.
Ma'am, can you listen to my question?
Sure.
Okay. My question is about the text message. Isn't it true in a text message, I'm not asking you why you said what you said, in a text message, when Gerhardt accused you of engaging and continuing an elaborate secret affair, your response was, if anything, I learned how stupid it was this time and know how to make sure it doesn't happen again. My only question is, do you recall sending that response to him when he accused you of being in a secret affair?
Yes.
You didn't say to him, it was just flirty text messages, don't worry. You said it was stupid of me, it won't happen again, correct?
Because when I did that, we would start to argue, so
All right.
you're right.
And when you said in your text message, it won't, I know how to make sure it doesn't happen again, that was in reference to the elaborate secret affair that he was referencing, yes?
To breaking his trust, yes.
Another thing that happened after the discovery of your relationship with Mr. Miller, another thing that happened is, as you talked today about working through this in January and February. Remember that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And another thing that happened to help you guys work through this is you guys started listening to audio self-help books. You remember that?
Yes, sir.
One of the audio books that you purchased and listened to was entitled, How to Help Your Spouse Heal from Your Affair. You remember purchasing and listening to that audiobook?
I do remember that, yes.
You took the time to purchase it and listen to it, and that was the title of it, How to Help My Spouse Heal from My Affair, as in your affair, correct?
That's correct.
Leading up to December 2024, ma'am, prior to the discovery of your communications with Mr. Miller, you were trying to hide the extent of your relationship with Mr. Miller from your husband, correct?
That's right.
To conceal the substance of your communications and the extent of your relationship with Mr. Miller from your husband leading up to December 2024, you were purposefully deleting your messages to and from Mr. Miller on your phone, correct?
I was deleting messages on my phone. That's correct.
Yeah, so Gerhardt wouldn't see them, right?
That's right.
And by the way, you work with Mr. Miller, correct?
That's right.
You guys have work emails that you can email each other on, yes?
Yes, sir.
He had a work phone, yes?
Yes, sir.
Did you have a work phone?
No.
Okay, but you had text messaging on your phone. You could text him on his work phone about work things, yes? Through text messaging, yes?
That's an option for sure. Yes.
Yeah, and emailing about work things on a work email, that was an option, right?
Yes.
But you chose to communicate with Mr. Miller, this other married man, on WhatsApp, correct?
I use WhatsApp for work for other things too. Yes.
Ma'am, that wasn't my question.
Yes, I talked to him on WhatsApp, sir.
There were times leading up to and into early December 2024 where you and Mr. Miller would message each other very frequently about personal things not related to work, correct?
Yes, sir.
Some days all day long, back and forth all day long, correct?
Potentially.
Okay. Your Honor, I'm going to ask Your Honor to take judicial notice that December 1st, 2024 was a Sunday, and I believe we have a calendar here somewhere. May I approach, Your Honor? This is from timeinddate.com.
Or the witness?
Excuse me?
The bench or the witness? You want to
You, Your Honor?
Yes.
Ideally, to show you the calendar.
Come on up.
December 1st, 2024.
Mr. Gardner, any objections?
None at this time.
Okay, so the court would judicially notice that December 1st, 2024 was a Sunday.
Okay. December 1st, 2024 was a Sunday, not a work day, correct?
Sure.
I'm going to show you now what's been marked as D123. D123. May I approach, Your Honor?
You may.
Ma'am, I'm going to hand this to you. I'm going to ask you to just thumb through it. I'm going to ask you if that appears to be communications between you and Mr. Miller, not just on December 1st, 2023, but on multiple days.
Will you please repeat your question?
Just that appears to be messages between you and Mr. Miller back during that time period, yes?
Yes, it does.
All right. May I hand that back to you,
Sure.
please? Your Honor, I move to admit Exhibit D123.
Mr. Gardner,
Can I put you on the exhibit?
you may.
Ms. Koenig, I'm going to hand you back what's been marked as D123.
Thank you.
Take a look through, and are there any redactions to that exhibit?
Yes,
Did you place those redactions yourself?
I did not.
Do you know what has been redacted?
I do not.
We have a moment.
That's how you guys gave it to us.
Okay. No objection then.
Are you aware that when the prosecutors pulled this from the computer, that's the redactions they provided to us with?
I'm not aware of
Hang
that.
on. Do you still want to proffer it or no?
Yeah, I'd like to admit it into evidence.
Do you have further foundation, like,
Well, I mean, I think the question is,
No objection.
no objection.
no follow-up then, right?
Not foundationally.
Okay. Then what has been marked for identification as exhibit D123 is received as evidence.
Thank you. May I approach and retrieve it?
Yes, you may.
Thank you.
May we publish, Your Honor?
Yes, granted.
And Mr. Dirks, if you can please go to 12:1. First of all, this goes on for pages and pages and pages, correct?
Yes, it's over months.
Excuse me?
It looks like it's over months, but yes.
But this is all between you and Mr. Miller, correct?
Yeah,
Your coworker, right?
that's right.
Okay. Let's go to 12:1, please. Mr. Dirks, let me know when we're there. I think it's the bottom of 1908. Is that it?
Yes.
Okay. Can we blow up the bottom section, please? Okay. Is it possible to make it bigger? Or not really? Shucks. Okay. Ma'am, I'm going to read this to you, and can you see it on the screen there?
May I have a copy?
Oh, sure. That's probably a good idea. Thank you.
Thanks.
I'll turn to 1908. Thank you, at the bottom.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, so the day starts off on this Sunday. Mr. Miller texts you, and you know, there's timestamps on here, but this was the timestamps of the WhatsApp. I'm imagining he wasn't texting at 3:23 a.m. Is that right?
I wouldn't think so. yes.
Okay. But in any event, he starts on this Sunday, and he starts off, he says, "Good morning, sounds good. I hope you're getting some good sleep. I've slept a ton over the break," which has been, and we'll go to the next page. Is it possible to blow up half the page? Okay. It may not be seeable, but we'll try. Which has been nice, and then you respond and you say good morning, correct?
That's correct.
So this is in the morning on a Sunday, correct?
Yes.
Okay. He goes on, this is nice, always good to get caught up on sleep. And you say, up now, just put a fresh batch of yogurt in the fridge with some kind of, can you zoom in on that emoji, possibly, Mr. Dirks? Okay. So telling him in the morning about the fresh batch of yogurt in the fridge and with this emoji, whatever that emoji is, correct?
That's correct.
All right. Now, it goes on throughout the day. We don't need to read all of it. Can we go down to 6:42 a.m. On 12:1? Thanks. Okay. You indicate to him that I guess we will watch some football here too, probably. G is on call. I'm planning to decorate the tree with the kids. And he says, Mr. Miller says, gotcha, correct?
Yes.
So on a Sunday, you're telling him what you guys are doing. You're going to decorate with the kids with the trees, yes?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then it goes on throughout the day, and you guys are going back and forth about what's going on and watching football and decorating the tree and things like that, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Now, at the bottom of the page there, you guys are talking about the football game. Looks like Pittsburgh is winning. You see that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then let's go to the next page. Continues on the first. And more communication. 11, 13, 29. If we can zoom in on that, Mr. Dirks. Okay. He says, checks back in. I hope you're having a nice morning. So good so far. That's what you guys are saying all throughout Sunday, correct?
That's right.
Okay. Then let's go down to 3/28/55. We can blow that up. Mr. Dirks, please. Thank you. Okay. Now, he says, I'm making sure Kay eats OFC, guessing that's what the lie was about. Mr. Miller says, nope, REK, not at all, just much easier to discuss. And then he says, plus, I'm looking forward to chatting at some point anyway. And can we blow up that emoji, please? Okay. And then your response back, if we could blow that up, was now in the PM, good night, looking forward to it. And then the next morning it starts again, good morning, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. We can take that down. Now, so all throughout the Sunday, you and this married man were texting back and forth about what you guys were doing. Good morning, and then good night, and then good morning again the next day, yes?
That's right.
And then a lot of the messages that you were having with him, you deleted, right?
I did delete a lot of messages. That's correct.
Okay. So we can't see those messages, the ones you deleted, correct?
That's correct.
Have you ever heard of the word, and I may not be pronouncing it correct. Actually, have you ever heard of the word Heleu? How do you say H-E-L-E-U?
Haleu.
Haleu. What is, in your line of work, what is Haleu?
Haleu is high assay, low enriched uranium. It's like a range of enrichment for uranium-235 that would be used as nuclear fuel for advanced reactors.
Okay. I have no idea what you just said, but it has to do with your work, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And during this communications with Mr. Miller, you and Mr. Miller would use the word Haleu in your personal messages to one another as code to let the other person know when your respective spouses were around, correct?
It was for Gerhardt specifically, but yes, that's correct.
It was for Gerhardt specifically, meaning you would tell Mr. Miller, I got Haleu today, can't talk. And that was your way of communicating to him, hey, I'm around Gerhardt today, yes?
That's correct.
During this time period, leading up to December 2024, you and Mr. Miller would share photos of yourselves, both from the past and the present, and also during certain activities that you were engaged in, yes?
Occasionally, yes.
Okay. And, Your Honor, may I approach with D-124?
Yes.
Now, I'm going to show you D-124. If you can look through that, and I'm going to ask you again if that looks to you to be messages between you and Mr. Miller, and also photos that you guys would send to each other. And let me know when you're ready.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And that appears to be fair and accurate depictions of messages you guys would send to each other, correct?
That's correct.
All right. Your Honor, move to admit D-124.
No objection.
Will be marked for identification as Exhibit D-124 is received into evidence.
Can we please publish and start on page P2250? Okay. Let's blow up that picture at the top there, please. You want a copy? I'll give you.
Yes, please, sir.
Thank you. May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Okay.
Do you like this one?
Oh, yeah, I'll take this back. Thank you. Okay, so this is a picture Mr. Miller sent to you. One of my two BFFs. This was in Vegas. And then you looks like you attached a heart emoji to it. Yes?
That's a reaction, yes.
Excuse me?
It's like a reaction on the message. It's not attached. It's just like acknowledge.
Got it. A heart emoji reaction.
Correct.
Got it. Let's go to the next page, please. We publish that, and let's pull up the one with the dog in it. Okay. So Mr. Miller sends you this with a picture of his dog, yes?
It says my brother's family's dog, but yes,
Wow.
a dog.
A picture of a dog, yeah.
That's correct.
Yeah. It's his brother's dog, right?
That's what he says, yes.
It's not his dog. He's sending a picture of his brother's dog, right?
According to the message, yes.
And is he making a kissing face at you, or you don't know?
I don't know what
Okay. Let's go to page 2253. This is from October. Can we blow up the beaches on the top, please? You sent him photos of, this is you sending him photos of beaches, correct?
That's correct, yeah.
All right. One second. Now, while we're here, why don't we go to page 2256 while we have this up. Okay. Can you blow up that thing on the top that says HMA VPN service, Mr. Dark? Thank you. So, in November of 2024, Mr. Miller sent you a link to something called HMA VPN service, total online privacy with HMA, correct?
That's correct.
And that is a website, if you look further down, apparently HMA stands for Hide My Ass, correct?
Correct.
www.hidemyass.com, yes?
That's correct.
And you understood that a VPN is an app that allows you to hide your internet activity from others, correct?
That's not my understanding of a VPN. This was sent to be able to watch football that was streamed locally.
Okay. VPN service, total online privacy, hide my ass. And he sent you that so you could watch football?
That's right.
Okay. This wasn't for work purposes, was it?
This is not for work purposes. You're correct.
TerraPower wouldn't use something called www.hidemyass.com, would they?
I would not expect them to use that. That's correct.
One second, Your Honor. You also sent photos to Mr. Miller as well, and may I approach, Your Honor, with 183?
Yes.
Okay. Can I approach, Your Honor? I'll bring a copy.
Trade Jeff.
Okay, thank you, Latrell. If you can look through this, and aside from the text written on the bottom, do the messages appear to be messages that you and Mr. Miller were sending to each other back during this time period?
Yes, they do.
Okay. Your Honor, may we please admit Exhibit D-183?
Mr. Varney.
No objection.
Would it be marked for identification as Exhibit D-183 if you see these elements?
If we can, Mr. Dirks, please publish the first page of this exhibit. Okay, can we blow up the picture, just the picture? Well, actually, I take that back. Let's blow up the message to begin with. Okay, so you were on a trip. Who's the other lady in that photo, ma'am?
That's my best friend, Gianna.
Gianna. Okay, we're going to talk about her a little later. But you were on a trip with her, correct?
Yes.
And you're texting Mr. Miller while was it just a girls' trip? Was Gerhardt there?
It was the first night of a trip, so it was just the girls the first night.
Okay. And 9:47 p.m., you're texting Mr. Miller saying, we're still out, almost midnight, did an Irish car bomb, which was her first in my 1,000th, but first in many years, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And that's a text you sent to Mr. Miller when you're on this trip, yes?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Can we blow up the photo? And then you sent him this photo of the two of you, yes?
Yes, sir.
And you didn't send these, you sent this to him, not Gerhardt, correct?
I don't recall what I sent to Gerhardt at the time.
All right. Let's go to the next page, please. Okay, let's blow that up. And is that you in the photo?
Yes, it is, sir.
And you send that to Mr. Miller, yes?
Correct.
And what is it? What is pre-ICB? What is ICB?
From context, I assume that's Irish car bomb. It's the
Okay,
name
what-
of the shot.
What is Irish car bomb?
It's a drink, a shot.
And you sent this to Mr. Miller on the text, correct?
That's correct.
All right, we can take that down. I'll retrieve that from you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, we just went through all of that, and when the detective asks you about it, you say, no affair, just flirty text messages, correct?
That's correct, sir.
Okay, now, it's true, ma'am, that Gerhardt took it pretty hard when he found these messages, yes?
He was upset, yes.
Yeah, and he took, he confronted you when you were on a trip with your friends Gianna and Brian in San Luis Obispo, correct?
That's correct, sir.
And was that the trip that we were just talking about?
Yes.
So the day before Gerhardt gets there on this couple's trip, that night before, you're sending photos of yourself and your friend to Mr. Miller, correct?
That's correct, sir.
Okay. Did he have a code word for you that he would tell you when his wife was around?
Not to my knowledge.
All right. Now, Gerhardt confronts you on this trip in San Luis Obispo, and he had actually told Gianna and Brian about it before he confronted you, correct?
That's correct.
And that upset you, correct?
Yes.
Yes, you didn't want them to know, right?
Oh, I would have just preferred to be able to talk with him first. I tell Gianna almost everything. I think I would have told her about it anyway, but
You think you would have told her about it anyway? Had you told her about it prior to him confronting you?
I mean, had he confronted me, I would have told Gianna that we were working through that. There
But-
wasn't, in my mind,
A
something.
second ago, you just said you were a little upset that he told Gianna, right?
He told them before telling me.
Right. And that upset you, right?
Yes, that felt unfair.
Now, Gianna and Brian had actually been through something similar recently, where Brian supposedly had cheated. Oh well, strike that question. Recently, Brian had an affair on Gianna, correct? And they were working through that, yes,
They were working through marital problems.
involving him in infidelity, right?
That's not my marriage. Doesn't feel like that should be my business.
I'm not asking if it was your business. I'm asking if they had Gianna had shared that with you. You guys are best friends. You guys share everything.
Sure.
So is that what she shared?
I was aware they were working through marital troubles, and fidelity specifically was an issue.
And so it's true that you understood Gerhardt was turning to them for advice on how to handle this, right?
In some cases, yes, I understood that.
After confronting you about it, as you indicated, you were immediately apologetic, yes?
That's right, sir.
And you were apologetic, and then you guys were going to try to work through this, correct?
That's correct, sir.
There were certain things he needed. I mean, isn't it true that he said he wanted you to quit your job?
He didn't ask me to quit my job, but he did talk about it, for sure.
Okay. he did talk to you about quitting your job, correct?
Potentially, yes.
And he also demanded that you cease all contact with Mr. Miller in person, yes?
Yes.
And in fact, you had a trip planned coming up to Seattle with Mr. Miller that you ended up canceling, yes?
He would have been there. There were several people from Terra Power.
Okay, let me rephrase that. You were going to go on a work trip at which Mr. Miller was going to be at, correct?
Correct, sir.
And in fact, on that trip, you had changed your hotel to be in the same hotel as Mr. Miller, correct?
And several other Terra Power employees, yes, sir.
Your job was, well, I'm going to get into it more in a second, but your job was pretty rare and unique, right? Like that you were in the nuclear energy field, correct?
I still am, yes, sir.
Yeah, but at the time, right, when he was talking to you about quitting and leaving it, right?
Yes.
You talked about his need for intimacy, both emotional and physical. You indicated that he wanted to have sex every other day, correct?
That's correct.
And he also wanted you to be less, I guess, secretive or give up some privacy. And he wanted to see your emails and communications, correct?
He looked through my phone almost every day. Yes, sir.
And in fact, these were not just desires that were unique to him. You listen to audiobooks, like, for example, How to Help My Spouse Heal with My Affair, right?
Yes, sir.
And in that book, they recommend cutting off all contact with your affair partner, yes?
To my recollection, yes.
They recommend that you share passwords, share your whereabouts, share communications, because secrecy is what caused the damage, openness is what repairs it, right? You remember learning things like that in these books and counseling?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And that's what Gerhardt was asking for, right? He wanted to see what you were, just see what you were messaging with others, right?
In some cases, yes, sir.
Okay. Now, back to your career, ma'am. You mentioned him talking to you about quitting your job so that you wouldn't have contact with Mr. Miller anymore. You're a nuclear engineer, is that right?
Yes, sir.
You graduated from and got your degree in nuclear engineering in what year?
2011.
And after 2011 till about 2022, you worked in this nuclear industry, yes?
I've been in the nuclear industry my entire career, yes.
I understand that. I'm just saying specifically for 11 years, from 2011 to 2022, you were in the nuclear industry, yes?
Yes, I don't understand the 2022 distinction. I apologize.
Well, I'm going to get to that. Didn't you quit your job in 2022?
I left Westinghouse in 2022, yes, sir.
Yeah. So that's the
Okay.
distinction I'm getting at.
Sure.
Okay?
Thank you for clarifying. I appreciate it.
So in 2011, you enter into this industry and you start working at a company called Westinghouse, correct?
That's correct, sir.
And you were into, is it called core design?
Yes, sir.
And what is core design?
Core design is figuring out how to load nuclear fuel assemblies into a reactor core in a way that meets the safety requirements and optimizes fuel efficiency.
Okay. And again, I'm not too sure what you said, but basically it's dealing with nuclear fuel, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. And you were helping to do that at Westinghouse, correct?
That was one of the jobs I held at Westinghouse in that time.
Yeah. And you were trying to move up the corporate ladder, right? You're trying to advance in the industry, yes?
Yes, in general.
Yeah. And like, so for example, in 2018, you entered a MBA executive program to try and get your MBA because you thought that might help you move up in this field, correct?
It wasn't an executive MBA program. I was doing a part-time MBA after work. I am only making that distinction because there are two different programs.
Okay, I thought that's what an executive MBA program is where you still work and do it at night. But maybe
There
we're
are
talking about
separate
this-
ones. There are separate things. That's more focused and faster.
Understood. So it's more accurate to say you entered an MBA program that allowed you to work during the day and go to school at night.
That's correct, sir.
And the purpose was to try and get your degree advanced in the field, yes?
It was to develop in the role I was in. I was doing a more business-facing position at the time, and it was thought the MBA would help me develop those skills a little bit more.
Okay. And then after doing that, in 2022, you quit, right? I mean, I'm sorry, what's the wording you like to use? You left your job at Westinghouse.
I quit. I quit
Okay.
Westinghouse. That's
In
accurate.
2022, and part of that was, it was, you didn't feel it was the right fit, you're trying to move up, there wasn't opportunities, you thought it'd be best to just leave and focus on your kids, correct?
No, sir, I wouldn't characterize it that way.
Okay. But you end up leaving Westinghouse, yes?
I did leave Westinghouse, but for different reasons.
And when you left Westinghouse, there was it around shortly thereafter? Well, when you left Westinghouse, you didn't have another job lined up, correct?
I was in the late stages of another job that fell through, yes.
Okay, and then that job fell through, right?
Correct, yes.
And so when you left Westinghouse, it was after that this conversation, because at this time you guys were living in Pittsburgh, yes?
That's correct, sir.
And it was after that you guys decided maybe it'd be best to move, yes?
Yes, sir.
And you guys even looked at moving to Australia, correct?
That's correct, sir.
And you knew that moving to Australia would make it hard for you to continue on in this nuclear energy field, yes?
I don't think the potential move to Australia was driving career decisions necessarily, but that would have been a complicating factor for sure.
Yeah, moving to Australia would have been a complicating factor, and you guys were considering it, right?
That's right. But they do have like uranium trading and things.
And then you guys end up settling on Maui, correct?
That's correct. On Hawaii at the time, yeah.
Hawaii and then Maui, yes?
Correct, sir.
And part of that, well, the timing of that, you mentioned your stepson Emil. That's Gerhardt's son, yes?
He's my stepson, Gerhardt's son from a previous marriage, yes.
Yeah, your stepson, his biological son, yes?
That's correct, sir.
And the timing of that, the reason you guys could move sooner than you had planned is because Emil was willing to move to Hawaii with his dad and you, correct?
Just to clarify, our original plan was to stay in Pittsburgh until Emil graduated high school.
Right.
And then he said he would be willing to move depending on where we went. And so we were able to move to Hawaii sooner. I
Right.
just want to make sure we're saying the same thing.
Yeah, we are.
Great.
We are. So in other words, Emil wanted to come with his dad and you, right?
Yes, he wanted to come with us.
So now, at some point, you guys get moved to Maui, and then this opportunity with Terra Power comes up, correct?
No, sir, I was employed by Terra Power when I lived in Pittsburgh.
Okay. But after you quit the Westinghouse job, right?
Yes, I quit Westinghouse, and I was hired by a contract agency called System One, and on contract to Terra Power starting that September.
Okay. But when you move to Maui, you're a contractor for Terra Power. You're not an actual employee of Terra Power, correct?
That's correct.
And that was in part because you weren't going to live in Seattle. You were going to live in Maui, yes?
In part, Terra Power has a distributed workforce, and so depending on the location, they would either be contract employees or they would be full-time employees, is the word you mean for like
Yeah.
working for Terra Power directly.
Right. And you were contract because you were going to live in Maui.
I was contract because I lived in Pittsburgh at the time, and then they kept me on contract when I moved to Maui.
Let me rephrase. You were on contract because you didn't live in Seattle, right?
Yes.
Okay. But Terra Power was designing new age nuclear power plants that use a new type of fuel, correct?
That's correct, sir.
And your role there or your job there was a project manager, is that right?
That's correct.
So now you are in a management position within this industry, yes?
Project management.
Yeah, in the nuclear energy industry, yes?
Yes, sir.
And you had worked hard through 11 years to get to this point, and you thought it was a good opportunity, right?
Yes, sir.
Now, we just talked about Gerhardt, when he found out about this, talking to you about leaving so you wouldn't be around Mr. Miller, correct?
That came up. I recall one time that came up. That didn't seem like a key point of the discussion to me.
But you didn't want to quit your job at Terra
That's
Power.
correct. I did not want to quit my job. I like my job.
Do you now work directly for Terra Power?
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay, so you're no longer a contractor. You now have a direct job with Terra Power, yes?
That's correct, sir.
And what is your job title now?
Product manager for HALU.
Product manager, and that's a step up from project manager, yes?
Not necessarily, and not at Terra Power.
Okay. But now you're a direct employee of Terra Power.
I am, yes, sir.
And to obtain that, have you committed to move to Seattle at some point?
No, sir.
Okay. But did they change their setup where now you cannot be there and be a full-time employee?
They did, and they have several arrangements with different personnel for that.
Okay. So you didn't want to quit your job. You're still at Terra Power to this day, now as product manager, yes?
Correct, sir.
Okay. And you still travel for work and go to Seattle at times, yes?
Yes, sir.
Now, at some point, you mentioned engaging in counseling, yes? After the discovery of this communications with Ms. Gerhardt's discovery of your communications with Mr. Miller, right? You guys started couples counseling, yes?
Yes, sir.
And as you indicated, the counseling wasn't just about the affair, it became about the relationship, and you mentioned, his need for intimacy, and it was about the relationship, not just the issues with Mr. Miller, correct?
That's correct, sir.
And you mentioned January into February, you felt you guys are making some progress, correct?
Yes, sir. That's correct.
But the issue with Mr. Miller would still come up from time to time, yes?
Occasionally, I would say occasionally at that time. I have a hard time recalling that in February.
Okay. And this issue of the discovery of these things, prior to December, generally you describe your marriage as a good marriage, right?
Yes, sir.
So now we're heading into March and going through counseling, trying to work through it, and your birthday's coming up, yes?
Yes, sir.
And ma'am, the concept of going on a staycation to Oahu for your birthday, it was actually your idea, yes?
No, I didn't want to travel. I was saying I wanted to stay with the kids, but I did say Oahu would be fun sometime. And he was like, well, let's go to Oahu.
Okay, so you remember being interviewed by the detective in this case after the incident?
Yes, sir.
Do you remember being asked by the detective, who planned this trip? And do you remember your response was, he planned the trip, he was kind of asking what I wanted to do for my birthday, and I said, sometime I want to go to Oahu, it doesn't need to be now. Remember saying that to the detective?
That sounds accurate. Yes, sir.
So at least that's what my question was. The concept of going to Oahu was something that you brought up, right? And you said, it doesn't need to be now, but I've always wanted to go there on a staycation. It doesn't need to be now. And he said, oh, let's go, right?
Sure. Yes.
Okay. It's not like out of the blue he said, hey, we're going on this trip. It's going to be on Oahu. This is what's happening. You raised the concept, yes?
I raised the concept of wanting to go to Oahu at some point. Yes, sir. That's correct.
In response to him asking what you wanted to do for your birthday, right?
Potentially. I don't recall that.
Well, is that what you told the detective?
I think you and I are interpreting that differently.
I'm not asking about interpretation. I'm asking about the words you use to
Objection argument.
the detective.
Sustained? Can I get the exhibit page in line?
Sure. This is exhibit 107, page 5, lines 13 through 15, D107. Ma'am, when the detective asked you who planned this trip, your response was, he planned the trip. He was kind of asking what I wanted to do for my birthday, and I said, sometime I want to go to Oahu, but it doesn't need to be now. That's just the words you said to the
Yes.
detective.
You and I agree on that. Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure.
Now, you mentioned the hike, and I think you said that you only learned about the hike the night before once you were already on the trip. Is that right?
About which specific hike we went on.
Okay. But you knew you were going to go on a hike, right?
We didn't have, aside from having planned to do the spa and shop around, a hike was kind of up in the air. I don't know that we had, before leaving Maui, definitively settled on going on a hike, sir.
Yeah. But the concept of going on a hike came up. That's why you brought stuff, shoes and clothes to go hiking, right?
Yes, like I said.
And in fact, hiking, it was not unusual for you guys to go on hikes. That's something you guys did from time to time, yes?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. may I approach with exhibits D-158, D-160, and D-154?
Yes.
Okay, ma'am, I'm gonna approach. I'm gonna ask you to, I'm gonna hand you D-158. Can you, is that a, what is that a photo of? That's a photo of you and Gerhardt on a hike, correct?
That's correct, sir.
Okay. Is that a fair and accurate depiction of you and Gerhardt on this hike?
Yes, sir.
And this was on apparently June 2023 in Wailuku, well, at least the top it says Wailuku, right?
That's what it says at the top. Yes, sir.
Okay, Your Honor, may we admit D-158?
Mr. Barnes? No objection. And what has been marked for identification as exhibit D1?
This is with D-160. This is, well, just one page. And is that a photo of you guys on a hike as well?
Yes, sir, it is.
Okay. May we admit D-160?
Mr. Gardner?
Can I set date for that first?
The date says, at least on the top, it says September 11, 2023, yes?
Yes, it does.
No objection.
And then lastly,
Then what has been marked for identification as exhibit D160 received into evidence?
and then lastly, thank you, Your Honor. Lastly, this is D-154. Is that a fair and accurate depiction of a photo of you on a hike as well?
Yes, sir, it is.
All right, okay, thank you. May we admit D-154, please?
Mr. Gardner? No objection. What has been marked for identification as exhibit D154 is also received into evidence?
So again, before we publish these, it wasn't unusual for you guys to go on hikes. That's something you guys did together, right?
That's correct, yes.
Okay. Can we publish 158, please? Okay. And up on the screen there, can we blow that up a little, Mr. Dirks? Okay. That's you and Gerhardt on a hike, yes?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Can we publish 160, please? Okay, another picture of the two of you on a hike, correct?
I'm not sure that Gerhardt is
Oh, well,
in
you're-
that photo. I'm in there.
Okay.
It's dark.
Okay. Do you think maybe Gerhardt took the photo? Okay. And then let's go to page 154. That's also a hike you would have done with Gerhardt, yes?
Yes, sir.
All right. Okay, we can take those down. Now, the day of the trip comes, and you guys go to the airport on Maui, presumably together, yes?
Yes, sir, we went together.
And isn't it true that you, because it was a short trip, you didn't check bags, you just carried on luggage, right?
Most likely, yes. I don't recall, but most likely.
And you would have gone through TSA security screening with Gerhardt, correct?
Yes, sir.
It's not like he went first through the TSA screening, and then later on you came and met him there. You guys went through the screening together, put your bags through the screening together at the same time, correct?
I would assume so, yes, sir.
And no problems getting through TSA that day, correct?
Not that I recall, sir.
You get to Oahu, and the first day and night, as you indicated, you guys are having a fine time, right?
Yes, sir.
Go to the spa, go to dinner, and everything seems fine, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Next day is your birthday, right?
That's correct, sir.
And you wake up, and the prosecutor admitted a letter that Gerhardt gave you. I want to read it now since it wasn't read earlier, okay?
Objection to argumentative.
Well, we'll let the jury see it now, okay? So the birthday card, in addition to that, he gave you a gift, right?
Yes, sir.
And it was a nice necklace, yes?
Yes, sir. He gave me a necklace.
Okay. So with the card, that morning of your birthday, he gives you this nice birthday card and he gives you a nice gift before you guys head out on the hike, correct?
Yes, sir.
And 1 second, Your Honor, if we could, it's a similar. We have it as D-127, but I think this is the one you're going to. Do you have a problem if we admit this? I can't pull it up. This is special. May I retrieve the exhibit
Yes.
with the card? I don't know what number it is, sorry. Oh, thank you. Okay, thanks. Okay. May I approach?
Yes.
I'm approaching with S-133 already in evidence. Ma'am, can you please read that out loud to the jury? This is the letter that Gerhardt wrote to you on the morning of this hike. Well, let me rephrase that. This is the letter he gave to you on the morning of the hike, correct?
This is the birthday card he gave me.
Okay, please
Yes,
read
sir.
it to the jury.
It says, "Happy birthday. Angel face, there isn't an obstacle in this world too hard for me to fight through for you. I would take on anything just to see your smile. You're one of the kindest, most giving, and selfless people I know, putting others before yourself with so much love. You're the heart of our family, and the heart is drawn. Fun, fearless, and a terrific mom. The kids and I hit the jackpot with you. Love always, G."
Okay, may I approach? Okay, so that's the card he gave you the morning of the hike, right?
That's right.
Okay. Now, in addition to the card and the present he gave you, you were aware that he had made a reservation for dinner that night, the night of the hike, at a restaurant called Fett Restaurant. You knew that, yes?
I knew we had dinner reservations. That was the extent of it.
Okay. So you knew that the night you're supposed to go on a hike in a day, and you knew that he had made reservations for dinner somewhere that night, correct?
Yes, sir.
But you didn't know it was at Fett?
Correct.
Okay. Now, after you guys went downstairs, had coffee in the morning, yes?
We had coffee and breakfast in the morning.
And
Yes.
then you head to the hike, correct?
We went and got a coffee on the way out to at a different place.
Okay. And then you had drive to the hike in your rent-a-car, correct?
That's correct, sir.
Now, this topic of life insurance came up, and the prosecutor showed you one email, but during this time period, you mentioned Gerhardt was the one that kind of managed the insurance, finances, taxes, things like that, correct?
Gerhardt managed our finances. That's correct.
Pretty anal guy, yeah, in terms of managing that stuff, right? Kept records, had documents about retirement, and that's just how he was, right, during your marriage, yes?
He was a good record keeper, yes.
Yeah. And so, leading up to March, as part of you guys working through this issue, right? It's part of we're gonna be together. There was a discussion about, increasing life insurance for both of you in case something happened, to make sure that the kids were okay and the house could be paid and things like that, right?
That's correct, yes.
And in fact, he suggested that he would increase his life insurance to over $1 million, 1.5 million, correct?
I don't remember the amount of his, but the rationale is correct. We looked at how much money we would need to keep our kids in our home, and based on our pay disparity, he would need a higher life insurance policy than I would need.
Yeah, and so you remember telling the detective that yours was closer to 100 and his was closer to $1 million?
Yes.
Okay. So the effort to do this, he made it a point to make his way more than yours, correct?
Again, based on that rationale, yes, sir.
The morning of the hike, prior to heading to the hike, Gerhardt showed you an email from that morning showing that the second half of his increased life insurance had been confirmed and put into effect that very morning. You remember him showing you that email?
I do not, sir.
Would seeing that email from that morning help to refresh your memory?
Potentially, I'll look at it, sure.
May I approach? I'm not going to admit it. D-116, Your Honor.
Thank you.
I'm going to show you this email, and I'm going to ask you if you recall seeing that the morning of the hike. And when you're done reading it, hand it back to me, and we'll read it to yourself and then hand it back to me.
Do you want me to read the email itself?
No,
Oh, okay.
I want you to read it to yourself, and then I'm going to ask you a question when you're done. Okay. So do you recall Gerhardt showing you this email about increased life insurance on the morning of the hike?
I'm sorry, I don't recall that.
Okay. You arrive at the Poly Lookout parking lot at mid-morning, maybe around 10 a.m., yes?
Yes, a little earlier.
And when you got there, it was a busy parking lot. There was the Poly Lookout there. There was a lot of cars, tour buses, and people in the parking lot, yes?
It wasn't that busy when we first got there. There were definitely other people there.
Now, like tour buses?
I don't remember tour buses when we got there, but I can't say for sure, sir.
But there was a lot of people there, right?
Yes. Yep.
You mentioned going to the lookout first and then going to start the hike, correct?
That's correct, sir.
Not too far into the hike, Gerhardt leaves you on the trail and he heads up further on the trail on his own, correct?
That's correct, sir.
And you mentioned today that was because you weren't feeling good about the heights and the cliffs and the heights. You didn't feel good. You didn't want to go on, yes?
Yes, sir.
You guys have been on hikes and activities involving heights before, yes?
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, I'm showing Defense Counsel D-147, 149, and 156. May I approach?
Yes.
Ma'am, you take a look at D-147. That's a photo of you and a friend going ziplining, correct?
That's correct.
Is that Gianna?
Yes, it is, sir.
Is that a fair and accurate depiction of you and your best friend Gianna?
Yes, it is.
And Your Honor, move to admit D-147.
Sorry.
Mr. Warner? No objection. You want the mark for identification as Exhibit D-147 is received into evidence?
I'll trade with you. Can you give me that one back, please?
Sure, sir.
D-149, is that a picture of you on a zip line?
Yes, sir, it is.
Is that a fair and accurate depiction of you on a zip line?
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, move to admit D-149.
Mr. Warner? No objection. And
Lastly,
what
D-
has been marked for identification as Exhibit D-149 is received into evidence?
And lastly, D-156. Ma'am, is that a photo of you on a hike?
Yes, sir, it is.
Move to admit D-156.
Mr. Warner? No objection. What has been marked for identification as D-156 is received into evidence?
Let's start, please, with publishing D-147. We're just talking about that day not feeling good about the heights and whatnot. This is a picture of you and Gianna going ziplining, yes?
Yes, sir.
This is before this incident, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's go to D-149, please. That's a picture of you on the zip line, yes?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let's go to 156. That's a picture of you on a hike from 2023, correct?
Yes, it is, sir.
Okay. So you were willing to stand there and take a picture that day, correct?
Yes, I was.
All right, you can take that down. So on this day, you're saying not feeling good about the heights, and that's what caused Gerhardt to go off on his own because you were going to stay back, correct?
That's why I stopped hiking. Yes, sir.
But you do acknowledge that he left you on this trail not very far in from the parking lot, correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, you say today to this jury that you told him, I'm just going to wait here for you, right?
That's correct, sir.
And you're under oath today, right?
Yes, sir, I am.
Isn't it true when the detective interviewed about this situation, when he gets back to you, he says to you, oh, you're still here. Remember telling that to the detective?
Not specifically, but that sounds accurate.
Okay, well, would seeing the transcript of what you told the detective help to refresh your memory?
Sure, but I don't disagree that happened. So I don't know that I need to look at it, but I will if you'd like me to.
Well, it depends. So,
Sure, let's look at it.
Okay, well, let's just, to be fair, and give you a chance to look at it, okay?
Thank you.
And this is D-107, Your Honor, and Mr. Gardner. Page 7, lines 1 through 4. if you can just read, sorry, line 1. Read it to yourself, not out loud.
Sure.
Read it till line 4, and let me know when you're done.
Sure.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, ma'am, isn't it true you told the detective that day when Gerhardt got back to where you were waiting, he said, oh, you're still here, right?
Yes, sir, that's true.
As in, he thought you were going back to the car, right?
That was not the implication, sir.
But to be clear, the area that you guys stopped was not very far in from the hike, not very far into the hike, not very far in from the busy parking lot, correct?
That's right. It wasn't very far. That's correct.
You described it as about 400 yards in, correct?
I don't think I described it that way, sir.
Okay. Would seeing what you told the detective help you recall that that's how you described it?
Sure.
We're now going to go to D106, page 10. One second. I apologize. Didn't you describe it as about a quarter mile in?
That sounds more accurate, sir.
Okay. I apologize.
Is it-
Quarter mile is 400 yards, right?
I have no idea, sir.
Okay.
Need a calculator, I'll...
All right. But you described it as about a quarter mile in, yes?
Yes, sir.
Not super far up this trail from the parking lot, correct?
A quarter mile. I mean, it's uphill and it's rocky, but yes.
But not super far into the trail, correct?
A quarter mile, sir.
So now he comes back, and you say he wants to, at some point, take a selfie, correct?
That's right, sir.
And you don't want to take a selfie where he wants you to take a selfie, correct?
I didn't want to get too close to the edge of the cliff, sir.
Yeah. And you indicate that at some point in the process of that, he says, get back over here, I'm sick of this shit, and he tries to throw you off the cliff in response to that, yes?
That was after the selfie, but shortly thereafter, yes.
Okay. And you indicated that when he initially, according to your version of events, when he initially grabs you,
Objection, argumentative.
Ask the question.
according to your version of events, when he grabs you, he says, get back over here, and your first thought was that he was kidding because he really wanted a selfie, right?
It was just very shocking. So yes, my initial reaction was, he must be kidding, yes.
But isn't it true you told the detective, my first instinct was that he was kidding and he really wanted a selfie?
Yes, sir.
And then you throw yourself on the ground, correct?
We're like wrestling. So he grabs me. I realize he's not kidding because he's forcefully moving me towards the edge. We wrestle and I throw myself on the ground. Yes, sir.
Okay. And when you did that, you were about 10 feet away from the cliff, correct?
Something like that, yes, sir.
And that's what you told the detective, you're 10 feet away from the cliff, yes?
I think I said I was about 10 feet away from the cliff, sir.
Where you end up on the ground, there were plants, shrubbery, and trees in that area between you and the cliff, correct?
Yes, sir.
You mentioned now that there's kind of a scuffle or fight going on where you're, I think you said you bit him, you're grabbing his testicles, and there's a scuffle going on, correct?
Prior to that, he's trying to pull me and drag me, and then he gets on top of me, and then yes, we're kind of
There's a scuffle going on.
scuffling.
Yeah. And you're biting him, you're grabbing his testicles, yes?
Yes, sir.
Now, you said that at some point he has a syringe, correct?
Yes, sir.
And according to you, you did not see where he grabbed that from. Is that right?
That's right, sir.
1 second, Your Honor. 1 second, ma'am. And according to you, he's holding this syringe, and according to you, you flick it out of his hand, right?
Yes, I swatted his hand and caused him to drop the syringe. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
You mentioned that at some point, according to you, you see him holding a vial, correct?
Yes, sir.
And your belief was he was trying to load the syringe with the vial when he was wrestling with you, correct?
No, sir. The first syringe he
What?
produced.
1 second.
Sure.
Okay. So you knocked the first syringe. He's getting the second syringe. But you think the vial is because he wants to load the syringe, right?
That's right, sir.
Right. According to you, this is happening while you're on top. He's on top of you. According to you, there's a kind of a scuffle going on, and he's holding a vial with one hand, reaching for another, into his bag with his other hand, and he's also covering your mouth at some point, right?
Yes, sir. If I can explain, he has the vial in his right hand in a closed fist, and so he's using that arm and hand to kind of hold me down. And then when I'm trying to talk to him too, and when I start screaming, he gives up his search for the syringe with his left hand and will hold his hand over my mouth while I scream and then resume looking in
Okay.
his bag.
So holding the syringe in one hand,
No, sir. That's a vial in his hand.
I'm holding the vial with one hand, holding you down with that same hand, according to you, reaching for another thing, then covering your mouth. That's what's going on, according to you, yes?
When he's sitting on top of me, so his
Right.
weight is on me too, sir, yes.
And then you guys are having a conversation as well. You discussed that, yes?
I don't know that I would call that a conversation, but yes, we were.
Now, at some point you mentioned he picks up a rock, correct?
Yes, sir.
And he starts to hit you with the rock, according to you, yes?
That's right, sir.
And according to you, so the rock is something, according to you, he picks up when you guys are on the ground, correct?
That's my, that's how it felt. Yes, sir.
Okay? And according to you, Gerhardt then blasts you in the head with all his might 10 times with this rock, correct?
I don't know that I used those exact words, but he used the rock to hit me, and it was my impression that he was using his full force at the time when asked.
Okay? You said that he was bashing it against your face and head, yes?
Yes, sir.
He was smashing it into your head and face, yes?
Yes, sir.
Full blast, 100% of his power is what you said, yes?
Yes, sir.
And 10 times, yes?
I said as many as 10 times, sir. I wasn't counting.
Well, you told that to the detective, you told that to the grand jury, correct?
Yes, sir.
Under oath, right?
Yes?
That it was as many as 10 times, correct?
Yes, sir.
Your head, forehead, and eye is what you said, yes?
That's right, sir.
To your knowledge, you did not lose consciousness, correct?
To my knowledge, I did not lose consciousness, correct?
You were taken to Queens and examinations and tests were done on you, yes?
Yes, sir.
In particular, a CAT scan, correct?
Yes, sir.
You did not have any skull fractures, correct?
That's correct. No skull fracture.
You had no facial fractures, correct?
That's correct. No fracture on my face.
You were discharged the next day, correct?
Yes, sir.
When you started to head towards where the witnesses were, Gerhardt didn't come after you, correct?
That's correct, sir.
And they help you down the mountain, and towards the bottom, you actually stand up and walk for the bottom part to get to the wall with their assistance, right?
I didn't really walk there. I was holding on to both. I was more carried than walking. But yes, I was
Well-
upright.
Okay, you were more carried than walking. Is that your testimony?
Yes, sir.
But you were standing on your 2 feet walking, correct?
I was upright.
Okay. You were standing on your 2 feet and moving, correct? Downwards, right? With their support.
Sure.
You were coherent and able to answer questions when the first officer got there, yes?
I don't know if I spoke to an officer. I recall talking to an EMT at the bottom.
Okay. When you mentioned when the witnesses got there and you're crawling away, you said Gerhardt was standing there staring, right?
Yes, sir. He was sort of frozen.
Yeah. So he saw you, conscious and alive, crawling away, talking and yelling to the witnesses. He saw that, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You go back to Maui. 3 days later, you say that this work bag of his gets turned into the police, correct?
The evidence specialist picked it up on that Friday.
Okay. And you said today that you're at home and you see his work bag and you open it and you say under oath today to this jury, the words you used was, I was surprised. I was surprised to see the syringes and vials, right? That's what you said today, right?
Yes, sir.
You were aware that work bag was something he kept with him at home and would take to and from the hospital every day. You were aware of that before this incident, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And in fact, you were aware that he would bring syringes and vial, lidocaine and other stuff and have it at home in case of emergencies, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You knew that before you discovered this work bag, correct?
Yes, sir.
The detective asked you, have you ever seen him bring home any type of medications or syringes for work prior to this? And you said, yeah. You told the detective you knew about it, right?
He had brought things home from work before. The surprise was that the bag was full and seemed to have a lot of stuff in it. I didn't realize the volume or the regularity with which that occurred.
The detective asked you about the work bag, and you said it was something he would take to and from work every day, right?
Yes, sir.
The first call you make upon this discovery is not to the police, not to the prosecutors, but to your attorney, correct?
That's correct, sir.
This is 3 days later, right? The 27th of March, 2025, correct?
That's correct, on a Thursday.
By then you had an attorney, yes?
Yes, sir.
First call you make is to your attorney. He says, we're going to introduce this into the case, and he calls the police, correct?
I'm not sure. He says it's relevant. We need to have the police come get it. It's probably relevant.
You discharged from the hospital on March 25th, and you return to Maui, and you continue your care, correct?
That's right, sir.
And we mentioned by the March 27th, you had an attorney, yes?
Yes, sir.
On March 31st, you go to see your primary care doctor on Maui, Dr. Joanna Yun, correct? Or Yun, correct?
That sounds right. The date, I'm not certain of, but thereabouts, for sure.
She was your primary care doctor, yes?
Yes, for
You had a
sure.
doctor-patient relationship with her from before this incident, correct?
Yes, sir.
She examines you, discusses your symptoms, and during that visit, correct?
Yes, sir.
She comes up with a Well, could you access your, that was with Kaiser, correct?
Yes, sir.
Could you access your Kaiser records at the time online?
I'm sure I could. Yes, sir.
She comes up with a diagnosis list for the visit. And then the next day on April 1st, you email her and you ask her, hey, doctor, do you mind adding traumatic brain injury to your diagnosis list?
Objection, rule of completeness.
Sustained.
I'm going to get to the second part of it. We'll read the exact email. Isn't it true you emailed Dr. Yun? Hi, Dr. Yun, on April 1st, 10 a.m., 10:03 a.m. Would you mind adding either traumatic brain injury or concussion to the diagnosis notes from my appointment on March 31st? I want to make sure the documentation is consistent between my care at Queens and back on Maui. Do you remember emailing that to your primary care physician on April 1st, about a week after this incident?
Yes, sir.
She had not included that on her diagnosis list after your visit, correct? Traumatic brain injury or concussion, correct?
Correct. That's the
I'm
purpose
sorry,
of the.
I apologize. She had not added traumatic brain injury to her diagnosis list, correct?
For her notes for the 31st. That's correct.
You had an attorney by March 27th, correct?
Yes, sir.
April 1st, you emailing your doctor saying, can you please add traumatic brain injury to my diagnosis, correct?
Objection, rule of completeness.
Sustained.
Cross.
Sustained.
Partially, what you emailed your doctor was, can you add traumatic brain injury to my diagnosis? Yes?
Sustained.
Okay, I'll read the whole email again. You said to your doctor, would you mind adding either traumatic brain injury or concussion to the diagnosis note from my appointment on March 31st? I want to make sure the documentation is consistent between my care at Queens and back here on Maui. That's what you told her, right? That's what you emailed her, right?
Yes, sir.
Are you aware that nowhere in your Queens records does it ever say traumatic brain injury? Are you aware of that?
I'm not aware. Sure.
Did you review your Queens records before you emailed that to Dr. Yun?
When I met with Dr. Yoon on the
Ma'am,
31st.
my question is, did you review your Queens records from your stay at Queens before you emailed Dr. Yun on April 1st saying you want to make sure the documentation is consistent between my care at Queens and back here on Maui? Did you review your records at Queens before you sent that email?
I don't recall, sir.
Ma'am, following the incident, well, I'm sorry, prior to the incident, you and Gerhardt had joint bank accounts together, correct?
Yes, sir.
Joint meaning they belong to both of you, yes?
Yes, sir.
For example, you had a joint saving account with Gerhardt with Capital One, yes?
Yes, sir.
And you admit that back then Gerhardt made more money than you, correct?
Yes, sir.
More of the money in the joint account was from his earnings than yours, yes?
Yes, sir.
In other words, he put more money into that account than you did, correct?
Yes, sir.
On March 27th, 3 days after the incident, you went on, well, I'm assuming, well, let me ask you this way. You opened up an individual checking account only in your name, without Gerhardt being on that, and you moved $123,515.38 from the joint account that belonged to both of you, and you moved that money into your individual account, correct?
I moved a large amount of money. The exact dollars I'm not sure of, but it is in that ballpark, sir.
In the ballpark of 120, 130 grand, right?
For sure. Yes, sir.
And you didn't ask Gerhardt's permission to do that, did you?
That's correct. I did not.
Now, you didn't take half of it and leave half of it for him, did you?
No, sir.
Okay. Is that something you did online,
Yes, sir.
in front of a computer,
Yes, sir.
logged on,
Yes, sir.
created your own new account,
I made a new bank account. Yes, sir.
online, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. 3 days after the incident, correct?
Yes, sir.
Did that by yourself, right?
Yes, sir.
On March 27th, when you did move that money, you had not yet filed for divorce, is that right?
That's correct.
You were planning to do so, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you were aware, weren't you, when you did this, move the money, that once you filed for divorce, there would be a automatic restraining order that prevented you from moving money like that.
I was not aware of that at this time.
So you moved the money without his permission before filing for divorce, and you talked to your attorney about that as well, correct?
I talked to my attorney about whether or not I was allowed to move money from a joint bank account.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now, and he told you you can as long as you don't file for divorce yet, right?
He did not say that, sir.
Later on, when you were asked about this, you indicated to the prosecutors that you did it because, in part, there was a need to pay back your parents $85,000 from a loan that they had given you and Gerhardt, correct? That's what you told the prosecutors, that partly why you moved that money, partially, was because you wanted to, there was a loan your parents had given you and Gerhardt for $85,000, and you wanted to pay them back with the money you moved, yes?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And your parents were not in a rush to get paid, correct? You guys had been paying them off slowly, correct?
Prior to this, we had been paying them off slowly. That's correct, sir.
And in fact, isn't it true that later on when you filed for divorce and you and your divorce attorney tried to get access to Gerhardt's retirement accounts, one of the things that was stated in that proceeding was that you had been making ends meet by seeking the financial support of your family, meaning your parents. You remember asserting that to the family court in your divorce case?
Yes, sir. I remember that.
Okay. So in the family court divorce case, you're indicating that your parents are helping you get by financially, but in response to this money, this thing about moving the money, you said that you need to pay them back the 85 grand right away, correct?
At the time when I paid them back, I did not know that they were going to be in a financial position to help me in the way they are now.
Did they say to you when you told them, hey, here's the 85 grand, did they say to you, hold on to it, use it, you're going to need help?
No, sir.
And by the way, this online banking that you did on the 27th of March, online, created your new account, moved the money. On the 27th of March, I guess that was 4 days before you asked your primary care doctor to add traumatic brain injury to your diagnosis, correct?
Objection, rule of completeness.
Sustained.
At the time you moved the money, on March 27th, that was 4 days before, sat down at a computer, logged onto it, opened up your online banking, created a new account, moved the money from the joint to that one, new one. That was 4 days before you emailed your primary care doctor asking her to add traumatic brain injury and concussion to your diagnosis list, correct?
I'm not sure of the exact date of the bank account, but yes, in general, that's correct.
You eventually do get a divorce attorney named Brianne Wong Leong, yes?
That's correct, sir.
And you guys do file a complaint for divorce, correct?
That's correct, sir.
And you indicate on the complaint that you should get full custody of the kids, correct?
Yes, sir.
Emil, his son, your stepson, continues to live with you to this day, yes?
That's correct, sir.
While the case was pending, after the incident and Gerhardt is arrested, you start having phone calls with Mr. Miller again, correct?
Occasionally, yes, sir.
1 second. Your Honor, at this time, we'd like to admit D-184. It's a summary chart from the phone records of Ms. Konig in this case, D-184. I believe the prosecutor had a chance to examine it for accuracy.
Mr. Gardner, with respect to the proffer,
No objection.
was the mark for identification as Exhibit D-184 is received into evidence?
May I approach?
Yes.
Ma'am, I'm approaching you with what's called D-184. I'll represent to you that from your phone records in this case, a summary chart was made that summarizes what was in your phone records. And if you could please turn to what is the third page. Let me know when you're there. It starts on September 5th, 2024 at the top. See that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. If you go down to March 29th, 2025, which is 5 days after the incident, it looks like Mr. Miller tried to call you 3 times, correct?
Please give me a second to look at this. Some of them don't look different. I'm not sure what the
Oh, I
columns are.
apologize. You know what, you might be right. He attempts to, it's repetitive, but he tries to call you on the March 29th, 2025, yes?
That's correct, March
And then-
29th.
And
yes.
then at 23:51, it looks like the two of you have a 13-minute phone call, yes? At least according to the phone records, right?
Just a second, please.
Number, if you go to the left-hand marking, number 620.
Yes, sir.
And that was with his personal cell phone, correct?
I'm not sure which numbers, but how it's marked, that's how it seems.
And then, again, on April 22nd, there's another call that's 31 minutes, 36 seconds long on 8/14, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and then there's other calls, but that's all the ones I'm gonna talk about right now. You can hand that back to me.
Thank you, sir.
Now, Ms. Konig, in the divorce case, you and your attorney are raising the allegations of attempted murder in this case to get the upper hand in that case, correct?
The
Let
criminal
me
case.
rephrase.
Thank you.
Do you recall, last week, the day this trial started, you signed off on a document that was submitted to family court called a motion to set. You remember that?
Yes, sir. I remember signing the
And-
motion to set.
And in that motion, well, you signed it and adopted it as true. Remember that?
Yes, sir.
And that motion details the allegations in this case and then states that you should get full custody of the kids, correct?
Yes, sir.
That the father should not have any contact with the kids due to a finding of family violence, yes?
Consistent with previous ruling, yes.
That you should keep your retirement and get half of his, right?
Yes, sir.
That you should keep the house, right?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Otake, whenever you're ready, you may resume your cross-examination.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Ms. Konig. I know it's been a long morning. I only have 2 quick follow-ups that I forgot to ask you about earlier. You know, you mentioned when I was asking you about the fact that you were using WhatsApp to communicate with Mr. Miller instead of, you know, your phone or email, text messages on your phone or email. I think you indicated, well, you would use WhatsApp to talk to other people at work from time to time too, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. But isn't it true that TerraPower, which is a nuclear engineering, or it's a nuclear energy company, correct?
Yes, sir.
The sanctioned software for company communications was Microsoft Teams, correct?
They provide Microsoft Teams for us, yes.
Right, and that's how they wanted you to message each other because it's a secure communication network, right?
Not exclusively. We're instructed to use encrypted messaging when we talk about work.
You were instructed to use encrypted messaging, right?
Yes, sir, which iMessage counts, and so does WhatsApp.
Now, in August of 2024, you went on a trip to South Africa with Mr. Miller, correct?
And another TerraPower employee, yes, sir.
I didn't ask that. I asked if Mr. Miller went on that trip with you, yes or no?
Yes.
Not only did he go on that trip with you, he advocated for you to be able to go on that trip with him, yes?
He helped set the group of people going, yes, sir.
And he specifically got you to be able to go on that trip with him, yes?
I don't know the answer to that, sir.
Do you recall messaging him on WhatsApp on October 30th and saying, I know I said it earlier, but I sincerely appreciate you getting me on this trip? Do you remember messaging that to Mr. Miller in August after this trip?
Yes, sir.
No further questions. Thank you, Ms. Konig.
Thank you.
Mr. Gardner, can you hear me, Deborah?
Yes, sir. Can I have just a moment to get
Yes,
this out?
take your time.
Okay. Good afternoon, Arielle.
Hi, Joe.
Thanks for giving me a moment.
Sure.
Okay. You were asked earlier this morning about what you told to the detective about whether this was an affair or not. Why did you describe what happened to the detective in the way you did?
When everything happened, Gerhardt and I talked in couples therapy and discussed whether or not this was, quote unquote, an emotional affair. And we determined that it felt like an affair to Gerhardt, an emotional affair to Gerhardt. And so that's how we treated it in couples counseling. But in the traditional sense of an affair, aka, sex or something like that, I would not say it was an affair. And that's why I answered that way to the detective.
So was there anything physical?
Nothing, no.
The text on December 9th, 2024 that Mr. Otake asked you about, was that the first time the defendant confronted you?
I'm sorry, can you remind me the text that you're referencing, Joel? I apologize.
Oh, no problem. It was a text message that you were asked about this morning and essentially took responsibility for the, quote, secret affair.
I understand. No, that was not the first time that we had talked about that, no.
Okay, so was the first time the defendant confronted you in person or by text message?
It was in person.
Okay. And then, if you remember, approximately how much later did this text message come in?
This would have been about a week later, I think.
Moving on a little bit, you were asked about a VPN service. Can you explain, one, what a VPN is, if you know?
VPN is virtual private network. I'm not an IT specialist.
How did you use the VPN that you were asked about in this case?
I actually did not use a VPN. The only time I use a VPN is for work. The VPN that was sent to me was in reference to being able to watch locally syndicated football games. So I grew up in Pittsburgh, watched the Steelers, but it's hard to watch them in Maui. A VPN would allow you to change your location to get local networks.
Got it. Okay. Going back to this confrontation about this quote, emotional affair, who did the defendant tell first?
He told Bryant and Gianna we were out having a drink, and I went to the restroom, and he told them. He basically said Aries having an affair.
How did you feel about that?
It just felt, like I said, unfair because I would have liked to talk to Gerhardt about it first.
And you were asked something about giving up your privacy earlier this morning after the defendant confronted you about this affair. What did you mean by that?
After this, Gerhardt oftentimes would either have my phone or would go through my phone regularly, look through my messages, my email, things like that. That's where I was giving up privacy, just allowing him access to my digital communications.
And how long did that last for?
I would say weeks.
By the end of December, did you have your phone back?
Yes, and honestly, it was just the beginning of December where I didn't have my phone most of the time. By the end of December, I had my phone. It would just be that he would go through it.
And how long did the defendant keep going through your phone after this came out?
I don't recall. I think maybe periodically, still in January, potentially.
Arielle, you were also asked about a discussion you had with the defendant while on the Palipuka Trail where, or I'm sorry, I'm going to restart my question. You asked about a discussion you had with the defendant about the planning of the trip to Oahu for your birthday. How did the defendant react when you said, we don't need to go to Oahu now?
Oh, he was just like, oh, well, we should go. It'll be fun. It'll be nice for it to just be the two of us.
Just a couple more things to follow up on. You were asked this morning on cross-examination about, and you said something to the effect of wanting to keep the kids in the house. Could you explain that for us?
Yes, just after everything happened, wanting to be able to provide the same life that they were having, right? You know, they already went through a traumatic situation, so just making sure that they could continue to live in that home for as long as possible. That's
Okay.
what I was referencing.
And this is hypothetical with regards to the life insurance, right?
I'm sorry, yes, this was the planning around life insurance and kind of the methodology that went into coming up with the life insurance amounts was making sure that should either of us not be earning money, we could still afford to keep the house that we have on Maui and keep our kids there.
How important was it to you to keep your children at that house on Maui?
Objection irrelevant, beyond the scope.
Overruled.
Very important. That was the basis for us really working on our marriage and, for a lot of the things, trying to keep the kids stable.
Now, Arielle, you were asked about a comment. This time I'm asking the correct question. You were asked about a comment made on the trail where the defendant told you, oh, you're still here. And what was the context of that?
Whenever this is referencing when I decided not to continue on the hike and Gerhardt went up and continued to hike a little bit, when he went up the hike, there was never an implication or discussion that I would go back to the car. It was that I was going to wait for him there on the hike. So him saying, oh, you're still here, was maybe thought I was going to maybe look around and explore a little bit from where I
Objection,
was.
Your Honor, calls for speculation.
It's what she was thinking. So overruled.
It's what she's thinking, he was thinking. Is that speculation?
Overruled.
I'll keep us going forward as well. Okay, you were asked on cross-examination about the number of times that the defendant struck you with a rock. Do you know the exact number?
No, sir.
When you talked to the detective, did you give him an exact number or an estimate?
An estimate, sir.
And what was the exact words that you were asked about and used?
As many as 10 times. I said he hit me as many as 10 times.
And you were asked this morning about being hit in your head. So let's go over. Where were you hit? Where did the defendant hit you with the rock?
I was struck on my right eye. I had a laceration down to the skull above my eyebrow here. And then all over my head, I had a large laceration that went back here and down here. So I was hit kind of all in this area.
Were any of your other body parts hit?
Yes, my left hand was hit where I was...
Objection, beyond the scope.
Overruled.
My left hand was hit where I was blocking my face from the rock. And so I had a distal fracture, which is basically like the end of the
I'm going
thumb.
to pause you there.
Sure. Okay.
Okay. So, and again, can you demonstrate where your left hand was when the defendant struck your left hand?
It was in front of my face.
Arielle, I'm going to approach, or I'm going to show defense counsel what will be marked as State's Exhibit number 88, previously provided. I'm going to ask to approach.
Okay.
May I approach?
Yes. Sorry, what number is that?
State's 88. Arielle, I've just handed you what's going to be marked as State's Exhibit 88. What, do you recognize what that is?
Yes, sir.
Okay, what is that?
This is Gerhardt's work bag.
Is that the same work bag that the police recovered from your home on Maui?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to retrieve the exhibit from you now.
Thank you.
Sorry, thank you. All right, my next section of questions has quite a few follow-ups, Arielle. The bank accounts. Okay, you were asked about withdrawing money from a bank account. Approximately how much money did you withdraw?
It's about $123,000, I believe.
And why did you withdraw that money?
Withdrew it so that I could continue to pay bills to keep my kids in their house, as we talked about previously.
And how did you withdraw that money, like the mechanics of how?
As discussed before, I created a bank account online and moved the money.
Okay. Did you log in through the defendant's account to do so?
No, sir.
Whose account did you log into to move that money?
My account.
And what type of account was it again, joint or separate?
The account I logged into was a joint account. I moved it to a separate account.
And what did you spend the money on?
Spent the money on a mortgage. Should I talk through like approximate values?
Yeah, why don't you give us an estimate of where that money went?
Sure. Okay, so if you just take like some of the big hitter items, my mortgage is $8,000 a month. My HOA is just over $300 a month. I have a car payment that's just under $400 a month. I have a solar loan on the house that's about $800 a month. So that's $9,500 roughly. And then I pay about $4,000 a month in childcare for my youngest. So that's $13,500 a month. So in 10 months, that's $135,000.
Okay. Now, you were asked about a loan that you paid back. Can you explain that?
Yes, Gerhardt and I had previously taken a loan from my parents, a personal loan, to pay back costs associated with a home construction project we did in Pittsburgh. And so it was kind of a long-standing loan from them. And at the time, I wasn't sure what was going to happen financially, and I wanted to make sure that their retirement wasn't going to be impacted by this.
Okay, when you say at the time,
Right after the attack and everything.
and did you settle any other debts?
I did. I paid off Gerhardt's outstanding credit card balances, just so those wouldn't be overdue. Again, that was joint marital debt, so I tried to pay down joint marital debt.
Okay. Do you remember how much of that joint marital credit card debt you paid off?
I don't remember the values. I apologize.
Okay. If you were to see your bank statements again, would you be able to remember?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to approach with what's been marked as states 156. Okay, Arielle, could you take a look through State Exhibit 156 to refresh your memory on how much of the defendant's credit card debt you paid off? And when you've reviewed, let me know.
Sure. There's one for, I'm sorry.
Have you reviewed the exhibit?
Yes,
Is
I
your
have.
memory refreshed?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to come collect the exhibit from you, and I'll ask you the same question again.
Okay.
I'm collecting State's Exhibit 156. Okay, Arielle, how much of the defendant's credit card debt did you pay off?
There's approximately $5,000. And just for the sake of completeness, at least I think one of those credit cards I was an authorized user on, so I don't want us to mischaracterize it and say it was his.
Okay, is that why you considered it joint marital?
Yes.
Got it. Okay. Last section of questions. The divorce, Arielle. You were asked about a motion to set trial for divorce. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
And you were asked about your request for full custody of the children.
Yes.
Why did you request full custody of the children?
They're in my care now, and we had a hearing last year sometime, and a judge ruled that I should have sole temporary custody.
The temporary.
Sure.
And on that motion, and you testified this morning, you actually reviewed the motion to set you were asked about?
Yes, sir.
Okay. In the section on page 11 of 28, or bait stamp 758, did that state, upon conclusion of the criminal trial against father, this matter may be readdressed when discussing physical custody of the children?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so do you intend to have physical custody of the children forever?
I intend to work through the courts to determine that.
And with regards to your request for the house and the retirement accounts, why did you request those?
The house also comes with the mortgage against it, so I basically requested that I have kind of the current state of things in Maui. So it's a house with a mortgage and a solar loan. Again, to try to keep my children in a stable environment. That's the house that they're used to living in, and the school district that they're used to, and the neighborhood they're used to. And then the split of the retirement account was again based on discussions with my divorce attorney and what would be reasonable in lieu of any kind of child support.
I'm sorry? I thought we were getting to hearsay, but that's fine.
Okay. I'm going to show you what bait stamp number 759 at the very top of the page under number 3, child support. Appendix states, or defense 187. Could you review that paragraph at the top of the page?
Yes.
Okay, have you reviewed the paragraph?
Yes.
Okay, okay. I'm going to retrieve the exhibit from you now.
Okay.
Arielle, why did you request the house and the defendant's, part of the defendant's retirement accounts?
Since he can't earn his previous income, he would be unable, it's unlikely that he'd be unable to pay child support that would keep their standard of living the way it was previously.
Okay. Understood. Last things. Several times this morning in your testimony, what happened up on the Palipuka Trail has been characterized as a scuffle. Is that a fair characterization?
I consider scuffle to be like a back and forth, like a wrestling thing. So it depends on the context. I mean, I would call it an attack versus a scuffle.
When you were fighting back on March 24, 2025, what were you fighting for?
My life and the ability to see my kids again.
Thank you. No further questions.
Mr.
Mr. Otake, recross based on what else on redirect.
Thank you. You were being asked about the motion in the divorce case and why you were seeking child support, or why you were seeking the house in his retirement, and you said because he can't earn his same income. And what was written in the report is that because he's incarcerated, correct?
Yes, sir.
Because of this case, because he's incarcerated and he can't earn his income, you guys in the divorce case are using that to say you should get the house and his retirement, yes?
Yes, sir.
You indicated when you were asked about physical custody, prosecutor pointed out that you have temporary physical custody, you're seeking physical. His father, this matter may be readdressed, correct?
Yes, sir.
Meaning you understand if he's found not guilty, it can be readdressed and he can try to get physical custody of the kids, right?
Yes, sir. I understand that.
And if he's contrary to that, found guilty, you know that he's not going to be able to have custody of the kids, right?
Yes, sir.
And then you would get full custody of them for the remainder of their juvenile life, correct?
Yes, sir.
He wouldn't be able to see them or have a relationship with them for the rest of their juvenile life. You understand that if he's convicted, right? And that's why you guys wrote that in there, right?
Yes, sir.
Because of him being incarcerated. You wouldn't be able to see them, or you wouldn't be able to have custody of them till they're adults.
Cumulative.
Sustained.
You and your divorce attorney are using the allegations in this case as a basis to ask for certain things in the divorce and custody case, correct?
Objection argumentative.
No overrule.
Correct?
Yes, in certain cases where it's applicable.
You were asked about this idea again about it being an emotional affair, emotional infidelity, and that's how you and Gerhardt talked about it and described it, correct?
Yes, sir.
When the detective asked you the question, well, did you have an affair? You said no, correct?
That's correct, sir.
You didn't say, well, sir, we didn't have sex, but we've been talking about it as an emotional affair. You could have said that, but you didn't, correct?
That's correct. I did not say that.
You described it to the detective as some flirty text messages, correct?
That's correct. That's what it was.
To this day, in front of this jury, that's how you're still describing it. Just some flirty text messages, correct?
That's correct, sir.
You were asked about Gerhardt wanting to have access to your phone in the weeks following the discovery of your flirty text messages, correct?
Yes, sir.
And I asked you this earlier, but you understood that the audiobooks you were listening to by these professionals discussed that, giving up privacy, giving access to your phone to help him start to try to trust you again. That's what the audiobook said, right?
Yes, sir.
When he left you on the trail a quarter mile away, right?
I wouldn't have done that.
Well, I'm just saying, was there anything stopping you from doing that?
Nothing was physically stopping me from doing that. The expectation with Gerhardt was not that I was going to leave
That's
him
what
there.
I mean. Is
You're right. There was
anything
nothing physically stopping me from going back to the car. You're right.
And let's talk about what was in your expectation in your head and not others, okay? Because when he got back, whatever you think he meant, the words that he used were, oh, you're still here, right?
Yes, sir.
So you were asked about the number of times you're hit with a rock, and you told the grand jury as many as 10 times, yes?
Yes, sir.
You told the detective as many as 10 times, yes?
Yes, sir.
But today you're saying you don't know how many times you were hit, correct?
I said as many as 10 times.
I'm asking you to, that's what you said to the grand jury, and that's what you said to the detective. Today on redirect, when you were asked about that, your words were, I don't know how many times I was hit, correct?
Objection misstates the testimony. You know, overruled.
That's what you just said. I don't know how many times I was hit, right?
I don't know an exact number of times that I was hit.
The credit card that you were paying off, some of that was a joint credit card that you were on as well, correct?
As stated, yes.
Thank you, ma'am. No further questions.
Thanks, sir.
Any other questions?
No, thank you.
Ms. Koenig, thank you very much for being here. You can sit down. Again, watch that first time.
Thank you, Your Honor.